Good evening. Hello, everyone. My name is Bruce, and with me is my lovely friend Janet from another planet.
Hello.
Janet is cosplaying one of the bad girls from Rob Roy tonight, which is our feature movie we're talking about.
Hmm.
How are you tonight, Janet?
Great. Really good. Really.
Excellent. I've got a little bit of hiccups. I guess, yeah, pro streamer, right? Okay, so we're gonna discuss this fantastic film, and I'm going to see if I can get Rumble to work again while we're discussing this. I really love this movie.
Me too. It's a
Uh,
really well made movie. Almost every single thing in it was wonderful.
they do a good job. They they have a setup for this film, and Rob Roy doesn't quite live in the same province as William Hurt, does he? No, not William Hurt. The
Are
guy
you
from
talking about for
Aliens.
Braveheart?
No, I'm talking about Rob Roy. He lives in the same. He doesn't live under the same province as the guy from Alien, and I'm pro streamer moment. But boy, I just watched this yesterday, and already it's like brain farted out.
I don't
What?
know who you're talking about. I'm
Oh
sorry. All
no,
right. No.
the man who the thousand gold or the thousand coin belonged to.
Oh. Okay. Give me a second. I got it written down right here.
Yeah, I'm going.
Montrose.
Yes,
Montrose.
yes.
Yes.
This is we just watched this movie for the first time in maybe 20 years
Yeah.
for me.
Well, it came out in
95.
1995. Yeah.
And so here he's Rob Roy's a pretty much like a homesteader, but he's got a bunch of people that are in his clan. And so he borrows money from the local nobility to buy cattle to herd a market, but the money gets stolen, and he's forced into like a Robin Hood style of life,
Hmm.
and he has to kind of defend his family and honor. But there's a lot of hiccups in the process, and you have Liam Neeson as Rob Roy, Jessica Lange as his wife Mary, John
Hmm.
Hurt is Montrose, Tim Roth is Cunningham. Cunningham is probably the best movie villain for the mid '90s that I can think of. He's
He's the nephew of Montrose.
actually no, he's not the best movie villain for the '90s, but he's a perfect villain for this movie. I
Hmm.
would say probably Edward Longshanks is my favorite villain from '95. Absolutely, and that's in Braveheart. We'll have to watch that here soon.
Hmm.
But that these two movies kind of overlapped each other. Braveheart was a much more popular film, much
Well, it
better.
was more about war and freeing
This is more about a
themselves.
personal
Whatever.
struggle than anything
Yeah,
else.
this is about a personal vendetta because of the wrongs done to him and the people in his clan and to his wife, his woman, because of a two evil men that plot to steal just 1,000
Just a
pound.
thousand
You
gold.
know, that's it. So.
Kind of a problem. Like the trials that Rob Roy goes through trying just to get things set up, and you would think that the barony would be easier to work with, but there's a lot of corruption. Like they don't really go into it, but there's a lot of corruption that you can kind of get this grimy feeling for.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Well, you got to remember these people didn't have anything. They didn't have bathrooms.
No.
Uh, they didn't have changes of clothes. You know what I mean? Even
Yeah.
uh, Tim Roth's character, barely had one bag. One bag of clothing and stuff. And so the thought of being able to buy some new clothes, have a nice tailor, get a new wig, all those different things was too tempting for his dark heart anyways.
Yeah.
But the fact that the younger brother of Liam Neeson's character, was it Gregory?
I believe so.
Um, felt like he stole the money and took off with the money. The character, which was Eric Stoltz, and I loved him in The Mask. So he's just a really good actor too. It's a shame I haven't seen him in a lot more things, because he was excellent in this movie. He was very good in Mask, and I just thought he was. All the characters, every person they picked for the different parts, made you care about them. Just from even just a few lines on each of the different characters, it drew you in and made you want to see them be successful. So that's good acting. And to hate one as much as we hated Tim Roth, that's good acting too. So
he really comes off as a smarmy, just over embellishing, just.
Yeah, I found something, a trivia thing I found was interesting. It says Tim Roth thought he was going to be fired for making Archibald Cunningham too eccentric. Because remember, he was so flamboyant and way out there. He asked his agent to start looking for more work for him. Despite thinking this, director Michael Caton Jones told him to be more campy and eccentric. Roth would later receive an Oscar nomination for his.
Yeah, that was really good too, because he just really brought Cunningham just completely. You wanted to wash your hands when you saw him on screen.
Yeah, with the fact that he used a fencing sword. I don't know what that's really called.
Like a saber.
Yeah, a saber instead of the big swords that the men in the mountains used,
or claymores or nothing.
And then when he was doing his fighting, he was very agile, and he was able to jump around because he was a very small man, right? Compared to some of the big mountain men, basically, that he had to compete with, which he thought it made his ego just humongous, right? And he played that character to the maximum. And I just thought he was excellent for the bad guy, to make you want to hate him. Because at the end, when they had the final fight, you don't want him to win, because he's done so many bad, horrible things. You just want to see Liam Neeson's character get revenge. And that makes the fight even that much better and more intense, exciting to watch it.
This was an interesting film for the fact that, like, you have a lot of actors that, like, Jason Fleming wasn't supposed to be in this movie, but against his agent, he actually chose to be an extra just so he could work alongside Tim Roth.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to be able to enjoy just that. He didn't have that opportunity yet. And Tim Roth came out of this like smelling like a rose. This was pretty much the most money he's made on a movie since ever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the only nominated performance he's got. It was a movie that turned a lot of heads. It kind of woke up Hollywood to Tim Roth.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a fantastic film. Just to give you guys more information on this, you have Brian Cox as Kil'jaeden, Eric Stoltz as McDonald, Andrew Keir plays the Duke of Argyll, and that was supposed to be a role for Sir Sean Connery, which I would have much rather had. Brian McArdle plays Alasdair, Gilbert Martin plays Guthrie, and Vicky Mawson plays Betty.
Who played the younger brother? He just made my heart break. He was so adorable. I just thinking about some of the scenes he was in, I'm getting, I can feel my throat tightening because I'm going to start crying. And I've seen this movie like 7 times. So, and I cried every time.
I noted. Like, we're watching this movie last night. I haven't seen it since '95, and I can hear you sniffling in the background. I'm like, that's not her allergies.
No, I was crying. I was really holding back so I wouldn't start bawling. And I turned the mic off a few times because I was like, I got to blow my nose. But it was so heartwarming. The scenes where, if you want to talk about that now, those scenes where he's talking to Mary, when he realizes here he is griping about not being able to get there quick enough, and how bad he felt. And then he looks at her and realizes what horrible thing happened to her, that he wished he died because he didn't want to have to live with the fact that he wasn't there to be able to stop it. But he wouldn't have been able to anyways. And the fact she says that she makes him swear not to tell Rob because she knows that him wanting revenge would get him killed.
Yeah,
So.
and that would be Brian McCardle. He played Alasdair, and I'm just going to pull up his photo here real quick.
Oh, he was just so good. I can't believe he wasn't nominated for something, because some of the scenes he was in was just the one where he drowns the gentleman that he knows was there staring and watching. Yes. He did get revenge to a small degree, but and so did she. You know, she was able to get some revenge for her and the young girl that committed suicide. Oh yeah, I remember him now.
Yeah, that guy
looks a lot like him when he was young.
Yeah, this movie, almost 30 years old, and now he's almost my age, maybe a little older. I don't know how old he is, but that's him nowadays. Or that's his IMDb photo, and he used to be a young man.
Well, I looked up. I wanted to see how old Liam Neeson and Jessica Lange and Tim Roth were when they made this movie. Tim Roth was 34, Liam was 43, and Jessica Lange was 46 years old when she made this.
How old?
46. I think she was
Lange
born
was 46, and she looked that fresh. I'm
yeah,
not trying to get.
No, she looked good. She looked beautiful. And she looked like the part of a woman who had two sons, as old as the ones that were in the movie. And I think she portrayed her character very well. She's very modest. To me, her character was very modest, and she came across very well when she went to the Callan to or whatever his name was. What was the other guys? The one that ended up being her benefactor at the end. I'm trying to remember what his name was, but when she went to him and
with
the one that Montrose wanted to have him say he was a Jacobite. I can't remember what his name was, but I loved his character too. It was so. I liked the difference between two aristocrats that have lots of money, very high society. Both of them. One was a dirty scoundrel that would throw his mother under the bus, and the other one had morals and was strict to try to follow the rules and be fair, even though he was stern. Huh?
I think you're talking about Andrew Keir.
Yeah, the older man that kept doing the betting with Montrose.
Yeah.
That gentleman.
Yeah, Andrew Keir.
Yeah, I thought his character was excellent too.
And he only lived another couple of years after this movie was made.
Yeah, he looked quite old, but he was a really good actor.
Yeah. He was born in 26, so by the time 95 rolls around, I mean, this guy's kind of, hitting the ticker. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
He played in a lot of good movies. He was in Cleopatra, Rob Roy, of course, Quartermass in the Pit, and Night to Remember. I mean, I've watched this movie here with my mother probably 4 times. I don't really find it a good movie, but it's just one of those films that it's okay if it makes you happy. Sorry.
It's okay. I just thought it was very I don't know. It was really nice to see that they picked. I think I liked the movie right off the bat because it seemed like they picked a woman that was, around the same age as her husband, which was what would normally happen in a family, from families that had morals, because you're not going to. When certain countries, it's accustomed to getting girls that are 13, 14 years old. But this one looked like they live way out in the mountains, so it'd be harder for people to meet new women, right?
Yes.
So to me, it just seemed more plausible that maybe they bumped into each other at the market or something like that, and she was a stunner, and she caught his eye, and she noticed him and liked him because he was a gentleman. Because when he came home, and he even took a bath before he went in and dried himself off, and then took one of the flowers and crumbled the flower petals over her face to wake her up, when he got in bed with her. It was very romantic, but he seemed genuinely in love with her, like they did love each other.
I think emotionally, those two probably spent like some extra time offset, just hanging out, just trying to get to know each other better, because they
Yeah.
actually seem like a couple in this movie. They actually seem like we've seen movies before, and we're going to watch some here very soon, where the husband and wife in the movie don't exactly gel well together, and they don't they don't convince you that they've been fucking and they've been procreating. They don't sell it right. And I know that sounds terrible, but I really felt when I was watching this movie again, like the first time I watched it, I'm in the theater, girlfriend is next to me, mom and dad are in a row in front of me, and I'm like 20 years old watching this film, and it was pretty interesting. And my mom and dad got more out of it at the theater. Now, when we saw it again on HBO a couple years later, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this movie. I'll sit down and I'll watch it, and I enjoyed it. But this time, I really the Andrew Keir and William Hurt portion of it was probably my favorite part of this movie, because you have these two old men bickering back and forth in politest of social conflicts, and they're just like they're wagering lives while they're making jokes and sipping whiskey or wine or tea. And then, all right, well, let's go see how well your fighter's doing. Aren't you concerned about your guy? And no, Cunningham's going to kill your man. You're going to owe me money after this. And that's just the level of dick measuring these two do socially. And that's exactly what it felt like. I got more out of this movie on that aspect. It's a great movie, don't get me wrong. This is like the third time I've watched it. Fantastic film. But I'm not feeling like I missed a whole lot on the second viewing to the third viewing. There's 30 years between the two of them. But like I watched more of like the set design this time. I was watching more of how everybody interacted with each other. That wasn't the focus of the characters. Like just the background characters, just everything felt completely authentic.
I love the fact, I want to interrupt for a second while you're talking about that, because when before a movie's even really where they paid the person to actually buy them to do the script and things like that, they send people out as location managers to look everywhere to try to find locations to film, what the director's view is, what they want. They talk to them and tell them, this is what I want to see in the backdrop, this kind of building, this kind of this, that kind of stuff. Inside homes, I mean, they even go into old homes, look at that layouts and everything. That's what a location manager does. And the fact that they got they went to Scotland and really filmed there in the mountains, in Scotland. It was very remote, and you could tell I didn't see any telephone poles or any roads. It was they did a great job, the location manager. And I was reading about it. Oh, hold on, darn it.
The set design was accessible via helicopter.
Yes.
The locations were accessible via helicopter.
They took them in each of the different things and dropped them off. That means they had to do the crew that way. They had to do the crafty. They had to, that is a lot of work. That's a lot of trips, because I'm sure they didn't rent like 100 helicopters. I'm sure they had maybe 3 or 4, and they were making trips back and forth to do all this. And it was just, and the porta potties and whatever else they needed to have, generators. I'm just trying to think of all the stuff they had to have, all the people, the animal handlers. I actually cried when you saw all the soldiers running around shooting the beautiful Highland cows and the goats and stuff like that. And the dog, I just started bawling my eyes out. When Tim Roth stood up with the gun and the dog, and you see it flip up in the air and fall, that's a well-trained dog to do what it did for that one part. And it was just, it was very good. I mean, you could tell they took a lot of time to plan out where they wanted to make this and who was in charge of certain aspects of the set design and props, costumes. I mean, it was just, it was beautiful. I mean, it wasn't even, the music would fit every scene, I thought, and the set designs, like where they take the guy that gave the coin to them in the first place to set him up because he made sure he didn't have a note, because a note would have been useless to anyone besides the person they purchased the cows from, right? So they had to give him the coin. So when they took him to that old mill, it was like an old windmill that was, caved in a little bit on the side and everything. He put him in there to hold him, to have like Mary come and talk to him about what he did. So they do a trial basically to get him to confess about what he had done. And that small area that they filmed in, the water's edge and the carts and just everything, it was just breathtaking, because I just went, oh my God, it's just beautiful. Absolutely. And then the mist over the water. I mean, it was gorgeous, and the director should be commended for everything that he did for this movie, because it was just breathtaking. I just loved it. The action scenes. I can't praise it enough. I just thought it was so good for what it was supposed to be.
I'm just gonna kind of, for those that don't understand or if they're new, my co-host is a very, one, big romantic, and two, she loves well designed and convincing period pieces. They don't have to have millions of dollars of CGI, but they do have to have thousands of dollars of good costume design. And this movie, from everything I understood about it going into it and not realizing how much I could retain from 30 years ago, I really was very impressed with everything I saw with this movie. I was looking more at technical aspects than anything else. It already sold me on the acting. I hated Tim Roth for years after this film. I'm like, man, he's just a... And then, like, finally, when I turned 25, I realized, like, he's really a good actor, because I can't stand that fucker in this movie. But this movie was so good as far as just providing you a good setup, convincing action and acting from Liam Neeson. And then, like, there's the scene in the pub where one of his clanmates kind of is just being a lout, and Liam Neeson, actually, that's the first time you see him use a broadsword. And I might add that usually most Scotsmen would use what's considered a claymore. It's more of a two-handed or hand and a half, larger than a bastard sword. Everything in this movie looks like it's a basket-hilted broadsword or some sort of variant of the long sword, a one-handed weapon. This is kind of important because the final scene, he exhausts himself on Cunningham just trying to get this thing around, and Cunningham's just twirling this little saber and stick, and he's pretty much almost put to pasture, which is probably one of the best sword fights up until for season 1 Game of Thrones. I would say this movie had the best sword fight I had ever seen.
Yeah, because it kept you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
And it was believable. It really seemed like the two wanted each other dead. That came across in the acting along with the sword fight. Yeah, I thought it was immensely entertaining, for sure. I only found one thing in this whole movie where I found a mistake, and it took me how many times? This is my 8th time watching it.
Wow.
Notice it, and it was the part where Liam had jumped off the bridge and had the rope around Tim Roth's throat. And they cut him free, and then you see him go downstream a little bit, and they come looking for him, and he has nowhere to go. And there's a dead cow laying there, and it's all bloated and gross, and it's got maggots on it and stuff. Well, he takes a stick and pops it open and climbs inside. Okay, and you see him in there, and he's trying not to make any noise. Or vomit and stuff. So he's trying not to make any noise, and then you hear all the men around like, oh, what a stench, and they're walking, looking for this guy.
Let's go downwind.
Yeah, that's what he said. that when he said that, I went, "Oh, that was a boo boo." I didn't realize that. So I went and looked to see if it, to see if I was right about that, and it said, yeah, that was one of the things that had happened. And I was like, well, that sucks that I found something wrong. But besides that, I really looked and I couldn't really find any bloopers, anybody wearing tennis shoes when they weren't supposed to, all that stuff that I was looking for. And I really didn't see anything. The costumes, even on the extras, it just, everybody looked great. And the little scenes, like when Rob is walking around in the little quaint little village there, and the little kids are all gathered around, and his younger brother is telling him a big story about how macho they are, because we got to remember, there's no TV, there's no entertainment whatsoever. So all you have are story time, basically singing, them playing their own instruments or whatever, and just playing kickball, whatever it is that they come up with in their imagination, because there is no other entertainment. There's no video games. There's nothing, there's nothing. So to see him talking to the kids and all the kids watching him with intently, and excited to hear what he has to say, and the excitement on their faces and stuff, it just seems very authentic. All of that did to me. So I just loved it. I just thought the little quaint villages, even the scene at the very beginning when they find the Tinkers that have taken the cattle, right? And they're watching them and everything. And he said, we're going to get them tomorrow morning. And I'm like, what? Because they're young bucks and they just want to go in there and have a few fights, right? But he's thinking about what's best for everyone, not just them, but also for the people that he's going to leave without a father or a husband to provide for them. See, so I just thought that was great. That showed his real true morals and his honor, like he talks about a lot when he's talking to his little boys about what honor is and stuff. And I just thought it was really, really just made you just love him even more and trust him. And I loved how Montrose was like, honor. Oh, like nobody's honorable. Everybody would stab everyone in the back, because he would. So he looked at the world that way. And you surround yourself with a bunch of skanks. You can't trust anyone. How do you sleep at night? You don't know which one's going to come and slit your throat, to take what you have.
This movie established Jason Fleming for me as like I recognize him now more because we just watched a movie. What was it? League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
And now he was in this as basically an extra. But then you have Tim Roth. He was also in, I think it was Pulp Fiction, and Eric Stoltz is in Pulp Fiction as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's a lot of, you can see these guys just getting work all through the 90s. This was a very good time for the men of this particular film. And then in a few years, Liam Neeson would get the role that defined him to many Gen X and Gen Y people as Qui-Gon Jinn, which I thought he was fairly skilled. He looked like a convincing sword fighter. I don't particularly like his style of Jedi swordsmanship, but he dies. He's not as good as he should be, in my opinion. But Darth Maul was set up to be a badass, and he did a very good job of making the audience get really behind Obi-Wan. So I really, when I look at this movie here and just the films that Liam Neeson's been in, just the movies we've watched, he's in Excalibur. We haven't watched it yet, but Kroll was on the list.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that. I've only seen that one time, so I can't wait to see that again.
What?
But
seriously?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
but the thing is that it's the whole movie to me was refreshing, because a lot of my friends that wanted to see this movie was excited because of who was in it, what kind of fighting and stuff that would be going on. And a lot of them like that kind of thing. I mean, they like anything to do with war, whether it was with guns or bombs or boats or sword fights, that type of thing. So a couple of them even said, even though there wasn't that much fighting and it had more romance and stuff like that, and that they still thought it was really, really good. So that made me feel good to think that people still like movies with heroes in it. You know what I mean? It just everyone had great character arcs in it. Even the bad guys, you know. The one guy, I can't remember, was it Kalin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Kalin was just a skank. I mean, he was a total skank, but he did a great job. The actor that portrayed him, and I've seen him in, I don't know.
Brian Cox, come on.
I know.
He was in Troy. He was in X-Men 2.
I know, he was in everything. I mean, he's in so many movies, and he's such a good actor, but he did such a good job. The only thing is, if Tim Roth hadn't been in it, he would have been the best villain. But Tim Roth just kind of squeaked past him. But they were both skanks, and they did excellent off of each other. You know, when they were talking, and he was so squirmy and slimy. You know, his character was just skanky. He was just a total skank. And the look on his face when Tim Roth was raping Liam Neeson's wife in the barn.
In the Mary.
Yeah, in there. He even at that moment, at first he kind of like looked, but then you could see almost him had the look of disgust on his face that Tim Roth even passed him, you know, went worse off than him.
Yeah.
Even when Tim Roth said, "I've greased her up for you," or whatever. And then when they're standing outside and they're burning the building, and she's in there, you know, pulling her hair up and trying to make herself presentable. And I'm going to get emotional thinking about it. It was so sad. Sorry. But him standing out there with him and looking at him saying it's going to be worse if she doesn't come out, you know, because you know, if she doesn't come out and she dies in there, it's going to be really bad. Because he was worried. You could see the look on his face. He knew that it was going to be a reckoning if she died inside. And he goes, "She's filled with hate, that one. She'll come out." And then when she walked out, it was heartbreaking for me to watch that scene because it was so good. And it was so believable because the acting was just so good and phenomenal with her character, all three of them in that room, supposedly with that going on. And then whoever else was in the room, the fact that they did such a good job to make it so realistic, at least for me, it was just, that was a Academy Award winning hatred.
When you look at her face is absolutely priceless.
Mm-hmm.
And just the way that she's snarling, trying to keep herself composed, gritted teeth, looks like Ann Coulter, like just ready to launch herself into like James Carville on CNN or something. She's got that angry, bitter.
Yeah, but she had to me, besides the anger she had, and she knew she couldn't do anything because they would kill her, and then her children would be homeless or have no parent, you know, because her husband's going to be dead is what she's thinking already. It was the fact that she looked so shame. She was so ashamed of what happened to her, that what she'd went through, that how she's never going to be able to look her husband in the face again, because now she wasn't his wife anymore. You know, she'd been used by someone else. And as a woman, I could understand how horrible she must have felt. The character, at least in this movie, it was just heartbreaking for me. And I know I started crying a lot when you guys were watching it with me, but it was just heartbreaking to me. And then after they all laugh and everything's burning and all the animals are dead, and they get in their boats and they go off. And then the young brother hears some of the gunfire, and he comes running as fast as he could to get there, and he sees her standing out there, and then she goes out into the water, and then he runs out and he's yelling at him, you know, waving his sword, and then Tim Roth gets his gun, and we know he's a good shot because he hit that dog like nothing, but he misses him on purpose just to scare him, because he knew this guy was like really upset and he was going to go tell his brother. See, that's what he wanted. That's all he wanted, was to get him.
He's such a despicable piece of shit.
Yeah, but that's what made you hate his character so much. You had to have a horrible villain, and he just did it like it was so seamless for him. Like it was like he was born to play that part. And that is why I think he was nominated for an Academy Award for it, because I don't think anyone else could have made you hate him as much as you hated him. But the look on the little brother's face when he's yelling and he said, "We'll avenge you, we'll avenge you." And then he sees her washing herself, trying to wash herself in the water so that nothing bad would happen to her getting pregnant or whatever. And she'd already had sex with her husband now twice. So, there's still that doubt there, the shame that she had on her face, everything. And when he says that Rob will avenge you, that's when she says, "No, no, no," and grabs him by the face and says, "You can't tell him. He must never know," So that whole scene was just, I was just bawling my eyes out the whole time. It was so sad, so heartbreaking, but it was so frustrating because I felt how I could feel for the brother that wanted to be the man to protect his sister-in-law, basically, and he didn't. So he was shamed. He just felt so awful, and he just felt so helpless. There was nothing he could do, in the whole thing. I'm sorry, I'm not reading any of it. I'm just talking my head off.
Our chat's exploding right now on various topics.
Oh, I hate that. I always have to go back the next day and read the chat because I miss so much because I'm so busy gabbing.
Oh, you're good. No. We can go back and we can read the chat later, because the chat that's some quality stuff that's in there tonight. Okay. Travis automatically is fencing with me at the start of the film. Start of tonight's recording, I said, Jessica Lange looks really good for 46 in this movie, and I called her fresh. And Travis is like, Jessica Lange is anything but fresh, And so I'm like, what? And I went over to the IMDb and I forgot, she looked great. And that was in 1995.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right, Travis. I get it. It catches up with everybody.
Well, we all get old, That's just the way it is. But I rather get old and have wrinkles and be alive and live as long as I can and be healthy as long as I can, do my own thing until the end. I want to be. I don't want to be like in a wheelchair or all hunched over and all that. I'm trying to eat right and exercise and stuff so I can live as long as I can and be healthy. Because even if you're been married for 50 years and you're walking hand in hand and you get to be there with your loved one, when you look at each other, it doesn't matter how many wrinkles you have because it comes from your heart, And that's what I felt between these two. I felt that way. And when I'm going to get emotional again. And, but so funny is that men do everything they can to not cry or get emotional. And they want a woman that's a woman, a real woman that will take care of you when you're sick and come in there and kiss you on the forehead and make you chicken soup and make sure you're covered up all to your neck, and put take your temperature and all that. But then you make fun of her when she cries at a sad movie. I just think I don't understand that. I just don't understand men when they do that kind of stuff.
That's
you want a woman, or do you want a woman that's like all buff, walk around and say, "I don't give a fuck"? What do you want? What do you want? I mean, we can't have everything. I mean, we can't help it. It's just who we are. We're the ones that cry when we see baby kittens, and we cry when we see something sad, and we cry when we get really angry. I don't know why. I wish I didn't sometimes. Sometimes I look at myself in the mirror and I say, I hate that about me. I hate that I'm a wimp. I hate that I get emotional. And it's one of the things I don't like. I feel weak when I cry. I feel like, it's a bad part of me. And I've always hated that about myself. So, but oh well.
I can usually keep everything in check. It comes to being at the Grand Canyon or my dog died, just don't come near me. Okay? Because you have this soft cry. It's about 60 decibels. You can hear it in a theater. Okay, whatever. I cry I might sob. I might go to 70, 80 decibels. I might scream like it's Viking metal. Okay? Mm-hmm. I don't know. There's various levels to grief for me. It's just all. Like I said, Grand Canyon, dog's dead. Yeah. Yeah. Cynthia
Yeah.
Rothrock is in her uh,
Oh.
70s, and her and Janet, like that. I think if Janet discovered the Cynthia Rothrock yoga, like Janet would attain the immortality that most elves want.
Well, we all want to stay as healthy as we can, and we all want to look our best, the best we can. But the good thing is that every person in them loves something about someone else. It doesn't have to be that you have big, strong shoulders. I mean, because you could still have a beer belly or love handles, and attractive women will still like you. It's how you treat them. If you make the woman feel like she's the only one in the world for you, that's enough. Believe me, women melt for that. You go out, you're driving down the road, and you pull over in the middle of the median, you pick a couple dandelions or whatever, and you take it home, and you say, I picked these for you on my way home. She's going to melt. I hate to say it. I know I would. And I don't think I'm that much different than most women. I really don't when it comes to romance and stuff. And he did all that in this movie. And I think that's why a lot of women really liked him. It's not that he was a big, strong man. It was the fact of how he talked to her and told her how wonderful she was, and how beautiful she was. And even when they argued, they were arguing about him taking the money and stuff, and she was not happy about it. And then he put her in her place, you know what I mean, when he talked to her, but he did it in a respectful manner, and she respected what he said to her. And their argument didn't last very long because they both had mutual respect. So that's an important thing in all relationships, I think, is that you listen to what each other has to say, and you give your honest opinion without belittling the other person, making them think, well, you're stupid. You're just stupid. Or, I hate you because you're an asshole or whatever. All that does is hurt each other. And that's one of the things I loved about their characters was, to me, it was a believable relationship. They argued, but they listened to what each other had to say, and they respected each other. And plus that meant that they were better lovemaking because they respected each other, and they looked each other in the eye when they spoke to each other. And I just thought they were very affectionate and everything. So that drew you into their relationship, and you wanted to see them be successful. And even some of the other relationships that were around the bonfire, like the woman was sitting with the husband, in front of her, or the husband had her in front of him, and they were very affectionate. At least that is how it seemed.
He
So
wasn't afraid to show his affection and care for her.
none of them were. The other woman, the brunette that sang the beautiful music, her husband that had the scruffier hair and stuff like that, they even were affectionate. It seemed like everyone in it had a very good affection toward each other, and they were respectful. So I liked it. I just thought it was really, really good.
This is my first kung fu crush I ever had. This is Cynthia Rothrock,
Mm-hmm.
2020. I believe she's about 60 years old, maybe 55, somewhere around there. But yeah, just gonna say, I mean, yeah.
Well, she's in shape for sure.
I
But
mean, the martial arts have done her good,
if
and
you,
exercise does anybody good.
I wanted to say something though. If you are in a relationship, you're married or whatever, and you're together, and one of your mom dies or your dad dies on either side, and the husband is upset. He might throw a few things and just say how unfair it is, and then he sits down, and your woman walks over and hugs you and puts her arm around you. She's not going to go, "Oh my God, you're crying." She's not going to do that. I tell you right now, she's not going to think, "Oh my God, I'm married to a wimp." She's going to think, "I'm married to a strong, virile man that has compassion for his family." That's what she's going to think. So men need to stop thinking that if a woman sees you vulnerable, that she's just not going to look at you the same, because she's probably going to look at you even better, even stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time my dad cried, and it was when my mom had a miscarriage of one of my little brothers. Sorry. But my mom was so good to him, and all of us girls were. So men can be and he was the strongest man I ever known in my life. So men can cry at the right time. I'm sorry,
You're good.
but this movie made me cry a lot. Sorry, I got to blow my nose.
I think this movie stands pretty tall. I mean, it wasn't really given a big push for the advertising back then. They might have gotten like $3 or $4 million.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
I don't even
remember
have a
any
clue how much
advertisements for
money
this.
this movie made. Do you know how much the movie made total?
I could look it up. Oh, they took away that. Thanks, IMDb Pro. No, I don't like you enough to get an account. I'm sorry. Let me pull it up here. It should be on Wikipedia.
Oh, what Flady has down there, what he said. Well, you know what? That's really sad because I can tell you right now, I can look around and I feel like the man that I would like to have that would be my best friend, be honest with me, can look me in the eye when they did something wrong and tell me the truth. I don't know if there's anyone left like that for me. It's getting harder and harder because so many people are so busy being something they're not. You got to wade through everything to find a good person on both sides. And it's just sad, it really is. But maybe if we can get back our governments and get our countries back, we can start seeing more people with more values for another person. Because if you can walk up and kick a dog for fun, or kill a cat, or kill a baby, by getting an abortion, things like that.
That's three pretty evil acts.
Yeah, if you can do all those things, then how can you actually be compassionate to a person that you want to spend the rest of your life with and have a family with, So, and you got men and women that do that now, that just think that, it's no big deal. That's not me. And when I meet a guy and all he talks about is, every single conversation is the same. It's like, oh, I wish you'd wear this mini skirt, or I wish you'd do that. That type of thing. I just, I went on a date with a guy and all he did was look at his hand and tell me how handsome he was in the mirror. I never went out with him again. I don't want a person that's just, I like looking nice, but you guys have seen me play DD, and I don't, I'm not all decked out on me wearing overalls or whatever, because you can't be that way every day. And I don't want to be, but I want my man to look at me and think I'm the most beautiful thing, no matter what I look like. It makes you feel that way. And if you look at your woman and you tell her every day you love her, and that, that she's the best thing that ever happened to you every day, and think about it that way, it gets to be a habit. She'll feel that you really feel that way about her, and she'll treat you that way. At least I know I would. And I just think that's one reason I think I just love this movie so much, because it makes me feel like there's still hope, and that way back in this real thing happened with him. I really do believe that they really loved each other that way. I honestly do. I mean, I think that he loved his sons, that he would give his life for his family. And, it's sad to think that people might think that they can find someone like that on Tinder. It's just shocking to me. You know what I mean? It takes work for a relationship. You don't just, meet someone and then everything's perfect and you don't have to work at it. All relationships take work, as you could tell in this movie. Everyone had jobs to do, and they were expected to do certain things for things to go smoothly. And I like that part of it. I like the realistic point of views that they had on it.
I thought
the flamboyant people, whatever, because they grew up with everything. They didn't have to do anything. And that's one reason why I wanted to dress up like this, because I could have been a mousy, with a little scarf on my head or whatever, and the little shawl. I could have done that, but then that's a demure woman. I wanted to be somebody that was, whatever, peasant, whatever. That type of person, because that's what we see mostly today, decadence.
Yeah.
in politics.
No, then that's not just politics. I mean, fuck, we just had a major game convention, or excuse me, a major gaming advertisement extravaganza where they talked about Baldur's Gate 3 last 2 weeks ago, and they showed the bear and the man having sex. You know, it's like, who
Oh
the
yeah.
fuck, what degenerates are being allowed power now? This is not what I want. How do we reset this? Because I want those guys spiked on their head off of a like a 10-story building. We don't need to have that. I don't want those guys making decisions. They don't even need to water fake plants. No responsibility for those fuckers. I'm absolutely dead set against that.
I know, and I think it's great. And hopefully that passion that you have about this one thing will help you finish your own story and maybe come out with your own game that will change everything about your life because you use your passion of something you love and make it what other people love, you know?
True.
And use it to do something else with it. That's what I try to tell people too. And I try to do that right now with myself. That's why I'm doing this. I took something bad in my life and I tried to make something that other people could enjoy, but also keep me myself. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone, but that's why I started, my first channel on TikTok in the first place, is because I wanted to laugh and make other people laugh and do the goofy stuff that the other person didn't like. But they liked it when they met me. But as I kept doing it, they didn't like it. They told me they didn't want me to do that anymore. They didn't want me to do this and that. And I was like, that's not me. That's what I tell people all the time. Be yourself and like the person that you end up with, let them be themselves because you're attracted to each other for a reason. Stay yourselves and then you'll stay in love, But I love this movie because of the romance. There was fighting in it, but real life, you have to fight for things.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was great. And it was all the actors portrayed their characters so well that it was hard to not think of it as a movie. It almost is like you're watching it unfold in front of you, even though you know it's a movie. And that's what makes a really good movie. It's almost like you're in it. It's surrounded by it. You're enveloped by it. And you can feel the emotions and your blood pressure going up,
Just watching the Scottish Highlands, and then you have Carter Burwell. He's the guy that did the music for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
He really sold the screenplay with the soundtrack. The soundtrack was never obtuse or it was out of balance with what was going on. It was a perfect dancer with the visuals. I loved how everything just kind of worked itself throughout what was it, a 2-hour movie? It didn't feel like it was anything but 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to say hello to RPG Grandma. It's always great to have you in chat. But between you and Janet, I feel like the place gets classed up quite a bit thanks to the two of you lovely ladies.
Yeah, thank you guys.
She's a treasure. She really is. I don't have any real complaints about this movie. They have the one gaffe where the cow, like you said, he's hiding in the cow, and Eli Roth's like, "Get downwind." What? Right on the asshole? Put your face against it. All right,
it was gross.
I
remember when I watched it the first time that I gagged. That I actually gagged when he stuck the stick in. You hear the sound, because I've seen dead animals like that on the side of the road that have exploded because they just swell and swell and swell until they burst. It's gross, and it really is nasty. It's the worst smelling thing I've ever smelled. And a lot of people said, "Oh, skunk's worse." I'm like, no, a dead animal or something dead is worse than anything. I've never smelled anything worse than a dead something. It's bad, and that was a nasty scene. But he was in desperation. He had no other choice. So that made that scene very intense. But the fact that Mary went to see the gentleman and tell him that about how they told him, if you tell the people, if you witness and say that he was a Jacobite, then I'll let you off. I won't make you pay me back the money. right? That he knew the guy enough. He'd done many things with this
Done a
other
lot of work with
gentleman
them.
that he knew he was a skank, right? So he
Mhm.
believed what she said. He knew that he was an honorable person and that she loved her husband and that she was doing it. She humbled herself to go there because she even said he would not want me to be here, but I'm here because I love him. He's my husband and I don't want to see him die. And she didn't know for sure whether he was even alive at that time, you know, but she still did it. And I would do that. I mean, I'd work 2 jobs or whatever my husband needed me to do, um, to make sure we had what we need to have, and take care of it because I love him and I want our family to do well. And that I just felt like everything that she did is, I could see other women that love someone doing it for them.
Yeah.
So real love, you're willing to do just about anything, is to save your spouse, So I
I
loved it.
I'm I'm kind of just amazed at how this movie still holds so well together. Could you make it in 2023? I think actually you could make this movie in 2023. I don't know if the costuming and the props department would have had so much money. I think they would have tried to modernize it for modern audiences. And I know that some of you just had like a bad look. You just gave the monitor like, Bruce, what are you saying? Hold on. They would fuck up this entire story of Rob Roy. And this actual movie, this isn't really too out of kilter for the actual accounts that we have of Rob Roy. I don't know if this particular event happened, but we know there was a Rob Roy McGregor. We do know that there was problems with money and accounting. We know that there was a lot of violence back then. This movie might have been a small embellishment of the things going on at the time, and I could see where somebody would have just been like, "We have this account of this guy, and he's actually kind of a badass." I'm gonna cast Liam Neeson in it because who doesn't want to have ladies? Who doesn't want to have a 6'4" Scotsman in a kilt swinging a sword in a movie with Jessica Lange, and she still looks really good. Makes y'all envious. She's 46 and looks like that.
Yeah,
I
she
I
looked
could.
great.
She looked great in this movie. I mean, no, does she look good now? No, the wall. That's it. But she's 71, 2, 3 now.
Well,
She's
I can tell
great.
you right now, any man that was 70 or older would think she still looks really damn good.
Yes. Yeah.
So, for men her age, she's a knockout still.
Yeah. And there was a young lady that I bumped into right before I saw this movie, and I had this memory kind of pop up yesterday. I met up with Tiffany, and I had Melinda on my arm at the time, and this girl and I went to school, Tiffany and we were schoolmates, like through freshman all the way into senior year. She was there. She had her kid at age 15, and she
Hmm.
was messed up. Most okay, small town America, guys. Guess what? She saw no exit, so she elected for the early childhood and early motherhood.
Hmm.
So she went with that route, and then I just kind of was like yesterday before we did this movie watching, I keyed in her name and I punched it in and then found out she'd passed on in 2018. I'm like, ugh. And then I saw a photo of her and I'm like, oh, what happened to you, girl? Because I remember her. I remember her when she was like on the way up. She was a young little pretty thing. She was 15, 17, 18 years old. She was my age. She was born 6 months after I was. She was
Hmm.
she's a June 75 baby. And she shouldn't have like had the life she had. More than likely she made a lot of mistakes on her own. She paid for them and she's no longer here, but just kind of like kicked my sails because I'm like, I hope I wow, and then I also remembered that my friend, my first friend I ever had in school, he died when I was 35. He was 36. And when I saw the photos of him right before he died in the hospital, it looked like a monster compared to the young man I grew up with. And it's just one of those things that when I know some of you are like, Bruce, now come on, you're 40 something. Come on, let's give it the program. I get it. But in your head, you don't really realize that you might be your age. You might still have this little niggling piece in the back of your mind going, hey dude, we're 34, we can go. Come on, hit another beer, get another shot of whiskey, drink another pot of coffee. We're gonna work for another 6 hours and then we'll call it quits for the night. Come on, let's go. And then when you get up and your knees pop, 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 or your back, like, oh yeah, the calendar hits you on the back of the brain like you're no longer a young adult, fucker.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know how many of us have that problem. I mean, Janet's going to the gym 3 times, 4 times a week.
But you know what? Before I started going every time, I go every other day. I hurt my knee, my left knee, when I was 17. I had a guy showing me his motorcycle, and he had me sitting on it, and he was trying to show me how to shift gears and all that different stuff. And I don't know what I did. I moved this one handle like that, and it just jumped up out between my legs, and it fell and landed right on my knee and broke the clutch off on my knee. Tore my knee all to shreds, and my knee was like this big. I had to cut all my jeans and stuff to be able to wear my pants to go to work and everything. It was horrible. And ever since then, my knee hurts. And I was 18 years old, and my knee would ache all the time. Well, since I started working out every other day, and it hurt, boy, it hurt at first, but guess what? It's not better now because I'm working muscles and my joints. And it's good for you to do that. Plus, I try to eat well. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I do drink wine and a few other little things. And I like ice cream. And I don't really like chocolate that much, but
that'll keep the pounds off you.
Well, I don't drink soda pop at all. Haven't had a single soda pop in like 12 years, something like that. I didn't really drink a lot, anyways. But I just stopped. That was one of the things I just stopped doing, trying to be healthier. But I can tell you right now, if I go 3, 4, 5 days straight and I don't exercise, my knee starts to hurt. So I have a little sleeve I have to put on it when I do a lot of driving. I wear this little sleeve on my knee, and then I try to work out. When I get there, I just try to walk up and down some stairs, over and over again, things like that, because you have to keep your joints lubricated, to keep them younger, so you don't get bone spurs and things like that. And I force myself to sit up straight, and I have this thing I wear on my shoulders that holds my shoulders back, so that you don't end up getting the tiny fractures in your spine, all those type of things, because I research all that. Because when you're hunched over a computer keyboard, it's not good for you. It's not good for your neck. It's not good for your shoulders.
I almost feel personally attacked.
Yeah, well, I do the same thing. You saw what I do. I sit over a thing with a mirror and I do all that. So I sit there like that. And if you sit and you practice with your feet under your seat, it forces you to straighten your back a little better. So just all those little things that I try to do to keep me from hurting myself more or making my achy bones or whatever worse. But yeah, my knee creaks when I walk, especially when I first get up in the morning. But I tore my knee all to shreds. I got a bad cartilage and all that stuff in my knee. But anything you've done through your years, if you've played football a lot, or you played golf and you did different things, depending on your job or whatever, you've worn your hip bones or your elbows or your shoulders. So you're going to have wear and tear on it. And that's why you need to drink plenty of water and try to take care of yourself and exercise and eat better. That helps with your bones and your joints. So you don't hurt as bad. So
I was thinking about that, and the mind is willing, but the flesh is weak and spongy.
Yep. Everyone's favorite way to die.
This guy, I work out of the World's Gym, lots of firewood cutting and splitting, heavy chores, keeps a man fit, kind of. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, you and Sick Nations live in the kind of the northwest portion of America, where that is like still very much accessible and rewarding, because you can go chop your own firewood for free. If it's on your land, it's great. Or you can go pick somebody's tree if they're like, yeah, go ahead, cut it down. haul it off, get out of here. And that's awesome. I really am. I couldn't do that myself. I'd have to have a splitter. My work that I do enough, it does keep me somewhat fit. I need to be fitter. I'm not fit right now. I'm a shape, round. But
you work every day. You go out of your house and you have a job. You're not someone that sits in that chair, then in front of the TV all day long. And that's a lot of people do when they retire.
4 flights of stairs,
doing stuff, and that's not good.
I go down 4 flights of stairs, and I get in my little bitty shit box, manual shift, 6-speed, and I clutch my way to work, and I go to work in a big, ugly, smelly truck, and then I haul hoses off it. I try to embrace the suck on that, suck up problems, try not to spill, and then afterwards I repeat until the day is like 3 o'clock. That's when my boss wants me starting to orbit back towards the shop, and that's when if I like Mondays, I don't go to the store, but Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I'll go to the store, grab like extra waters, extra, 40 packs of water bottles, and the 4 flights of stairs help. I know that sounds stupid, but it's something that needs to be done. And a gallon of water is 8 pounds. I can carry 4 at once because the way they have the handles, it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, the body reminds you of every stupid thing you've ever done in your youth. It's a very vengeful creature it is. And just one day you wake up and your body is all, remember when you were this old and you hurt yourself? Let's give you just a sample of that pain on today's scale.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hurt my shoulder. Remember I told you I was trying to do all my yard work. I was trying to cut some lambs, and I was trying to rake, and I was cleaning my chicken coops. I did all that, and my shoulder hurt. But when I put my arm behind my back like that, or behind my neck like this, it didn't hurt as bad. So when I went to the doctor, she gave me some some kind of pills for muscle spasms or something. I can't remember what it's called. And I took one, and I felt like the next day I felt like a zombie, and it was like it was like 25 milligrams or whatever. So I cut it in half. But my shoulder's still sore, depending on, how I move it around. But, I just keep getting up and still raking and still doing things because I don't want it to get to where I baby it and don't do anything with it. You know what I mean? Because that's not good. It can get apathy in your muscles and stuff. So don't do that. Still exercise it. Just take your time to get it.
He was in Iraq, and that's when the injury happened to him. It slowed him down a lot, but I make myself do the hard things, and nobody else wants to do it for me. Mm-hmm. That's the joy of being a white male. He's got privilege. Let him do it.
Well, I don't want anyone to do things for me. I mean, I want to do as much as I can for myself because while I still can do it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I don't know why I'm like that. That's just who I am. So, it's nice when people do things like open the door for you or put your chair out for you. It's very gentlemanly and sweet. But I'm talking about, bathing me. I don't want people to have to bathe me and change my diapers for me and all that stuff. So I want to stay as healthy as I can, as long as I can, where I don't have to have someone else do those things for me. And, that's just what I want. Because when my mom passed away, she was adamant that she wasn't going to do all those things or have us do that for her. So she didn't ever get to come home from the hospital when she did die. So we didn't have a chance to do that anyways, but we would have. She knew we would, but she was stubborn. So you can see where that from.
Current day is being influenced by the death cults and transhumanists, but I digress. And that's true. You said before that science and culture have shown that nature is the best gymnasium for the body, mind, and spirit. And that's where Travis, his little statement, the world's gym, that's where that comes from. A lot of people do believe in that. More people are actually getting out and doing things, except for like down here where it's 104 degrees at 7:30 at night. Mornings is like the best time to get out if you're in San Antonio. The earlier, the better. Between 6 and 7:30 in the morning, that's your window to go out and it's like 78 degrees and you can do some push-ups and you can do some things. I was having to or post trip the truck today, and so I'm getting on my hands and knees and I'm feeling the asphalt bite back through the fabric, and I'm like, oh, that's really hot. Oh, that's really hot. Let's not do this for too long. And I was on the and I had gloves on, and it was still coming through the leather. It was not fun. This movie makes me talk about things like that because these people lived a very rugged lifestyle, and for them to have their cooking or anything, they had to pretty much just chop wood and have a pot available, and then a very nice sword or knife to butcher something. I love it.
Yeah, rabbits, squirrels, rat, whatever you could get your hands on out there in the moors or whatever you would call it, the highlands. But that's why I loved it so much. The homes that they lived in, it was everything looked so authentic to me in this movie. I mean, the director did a great job making sure when he was looking through that lens and moving it around to see how he wanted things to be shot, he wanted it to be authentic, what was through that camera lens. And I think he did a phenomenal job at doing that. As a person sitting and getting to watch it, it was like they really were living that way to me. At least that's the way it looked at to me, is how I saw it. Even the rich people, the way that they had the massive yards with the little trees that had little decorative flowers on them and things like that, and then they had the little benches sit along the rockways, and you could tell it was authentic rocks because when what was his name, the guy that was assistant to him that made sure he had coin, I can't remember what his name is again.
You mean
the chubby guy that liked Betty, teased her and stuff. I can't remember his name, but when he's running down the walkway and you can hear his shoes on the rocks and stuff, and then he turns and he's running, the hat that he's wearing, that costume that he's wearing, to me, it looked just like the little salt and pepper shaker for Thanksgiving people,
Yes.
I don't know why, but for some reason, that outfit he was wearing when he's running down that walkway, I was thinking of my great grandma's little salt and pepper shakers of the little pilgrim people, the outfit he's wearing, that's what it looked like to me. But there is very realistic, it pulled you into the scene. And then he's sitting there with the wrap around his throat because he had injured. And then his Montrose comes out and he says that they're wanting to, the Highlander wants to have a duel with you or whatever type of thing. And he's like, bring it on, like that. And he's sitting there with this very flamboyant wig, and then he's got his, he's very foo-foo outfit he's wearing, and he's got a little hanky, that has the perfume on it so he can sniff it. That's what they carried these around for. They put perfume on it because it reeked. Everybody reeked because they wore wigs that they didn't
had to wear wigs. They had a piece of clothing that was stand by for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, it was considered, this was a sign of royalty, of money, a decadence. And the poor people didn't wear the wigs, but the rich ones did. And it was like, oh, look at me, I'm rich, or whatever. Or they had the little lacy doily thing and they're sniffing it, walking around all prim and proper. And it was bad. One of my favorite movies with this type of attire and stuff is called Dangerous Liaisons. I would love to do that one day. That's one of my absolute favorite movies based on this type of, clothing and style. It's actually beautiful and has great actors and stuff in it too. I mean, the story is totally different than anything like this, but it's still a really good movie. But all of that authenticity of that to me was just phenomenal. To me, the director went above and beyond to me for everything, for the costumes, he had the perfect actors anyways. That's why I don't think this movie can be made again now or a remake of it. It would never, ever make up for this movie because you can't get Tim Roth again. You can't get these actors to portray the characters again. And just like you said, now this costume I made from a pattern. and I made it as authentic as I could get it to look. But when you have a bunch of extras all wearing stuff, most of the stuff is just assembly line clothing picked and then put together. So I just don't think that you could tell that most of the stuff that they're wearing was well made by good seamsters or seamstresses
This
for all the
movie,
costumes.
this is like the way you make $28 million on a. This is a $28 million budget movie. Hold on, wait, Bruce. A third more is going to be spent on advertising if it's a modern day blockbuster, less if it's not. And don't
Mhm.
forget, kids, when I say that, you have Marvel movies that they say we are going to spend 400 million on Thor. And so they're going to not budget, but they're going to spend another 133 million on the advertising for Thor. So you're going
Mhm.
to have cups at Taco Bell. You're going to have stupid shirts. You're going to have toys hit the aisle over it. I hate my phone. I really hate my phone. Okay. So I I'm telling you this because they have a budget for a movie. They don't usually put the advertising budget in the budget. That's usually an
Mhm.
extra cost of up to a third of that original budget. 133 million for Thor would have been pretty acceptable back in 2012, 2011. But then you have oddities like you have MGM completely dropping the ball with Big Trouble in Little China. They didn't know how to advertise it. They had no clue. They just wanted to sweep it under the rug. Kurt Russell and John Carpenter made another movie. Oh God, what now? Well, Kurt Russell plays a sidekick to a little Japanese guy we've never heard of.
Mhm.
What? Give it $3 million and carry on. And nobody will see the adverts for it. Nobody saw any posters for it. Came out as a sleeper for that summer. Nobody saw it until it hits the video store shelves in September or October of '86. It
Mhm.
was a tragedy. Yeah, and don't forget, '86 was the summer of Aliens.
Mhm.
So, but this movie doubled its rake at the box office. It made about 60 million, about 58, $60 million. So it did really well.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty impressed with how they were able to maintain a level of cohesion. They kept the costuming proper. They didn't overspend on the music. They got the editing right in this movie, except for the one scene. Let's get downstream out of the stench. I'm sorry. I'm going to kick that dead horse. That's funny. It's a dead cow, Bruce. Okay, but
Well,
this movie.
besides that, could you think of anything that you thought was a mistake or a blooper that you noticed in the movie?
No, no.
See, I
This
can't
movie.
either. And I'm really picky about, the costumes and the scenery and whether someone's wearing tennis shoes with a costume that's supposed to be a knight, which I saw in HBO's Game of Thrones quite a few
Or
times.
Starbucks cup.
Yeah, there was lots of little things like that you could see. Even in Walking Dead, there's a scene where the grandpa, the one guy that only has one leg, and then the camera pans around like that, and then he's got two legs under the table. Little things like that, which I can't help it. I that's the kind of stuff I look at and I notice it. But when the first time I watch something, I usually am able to just watch it and not notice anything. I just don't notice it, but because I'm watching it for the movie. And then when I go back to critique it or look at something to see if I can find something wrong with it, I usually find a lot of things that I don't want to, but you do, you can't help it especially when you're looking for it. Like you said, this time when you watched it, you were looking at a lot more details of it than you would have normally if it'd been the first time to see it. So it's just something you can't help but do. Once you start, it's like once you're awoke, you can't go back to sleep. You know what I mean?
No.
So, but I love this movie. It's just so well made, and I have to put so much on to the director and the editing. I mean, the editing was excellent. I couldn't. It was seamless to me. You know what I mean? It just went like they took one camera and filmed it the whole time.
Sped,
You know what I mean? And I
sped
know
right
that's
along.
impossible. They couldn't do that, but that's what it seemed like. It was very,
This
very
movie
well.
sped right along. It keeps a very good clip. It has good pacing. The music probably helps propel you from scene to scene.
Hmm.
And I'm very happy that they did not try to do anything over and above what they did. Like the worst movie I'll ever make you watch is The Gods of Egypt.
Mhm.
Okay, and the reason why is everything about that movie. We'll have a field day just knifing that movie apart. That is a
I
favorite
haven't seen it
movie.
before.
Oh, it's a Willy's Wonderland-esque film.
Uh,
It is
okay.
horrible,
Oh,
bad CGI, bad everything. Music like swells out and like drowns you. It's bad.
I love that song that Six Nations has up there. I have that on my music list. That's a great song.
RPG ground, keep kicking, hun. That's the only way you can really do it is get your muscles to stop being atrophied.
You just have to,
Uh,
it's just one day at a time thing. Yep.
yeah, and when everything shut down because of the mysterious virus of unknown origin, which is strangely on the side of a building in Wuhan,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's kind of weird that they didn't seem to put into their head like, hey, if we do this, we're gonna have a lot of suicides, and then
Mm-hmm.
like right now we're having like this silent Holocaust, which nobody wants to talk about, by the way, but we're having a silent Holocaust, and there's a lot of people that are dying suddenly, and you're noticing people that they had a certain small prick a couple times, maybe 3 or 4 times. Uh, the small prick seems to have done something. And if you
I've
do,
lost 3 friends
I haven't friend.
in
I
the
won't say
last
friends.
11 months. So,
Four good people I knew are no longer here. Another 3 people that I would occasionally travel around the town with on Uber, they're no longer with.
mhm.
Just it pisses me off, and I don't know what it is with Generation X enlistees, but like what they were shooting us up with in that peanut butter shot, some of that was long lasting, I bet, and a lot of that really affects guys like me who enlisted in the early to mid '90s, and we got dumped on with big pharma stuff,
Mhm.
and it between that and this mystery concoction that some Chinaman put in, thanks under the supervision of Anthony Fauci, it really is weird that it's a lot of people are having a hard time with it.
Yeah, I remember. I think I'm trying to remember how old I was. I wasn't real old because I didn't really understand what was going on. But I remember when we traveled and we went to Guam and then we went to the Philippines. And I remember going and getting shots in both arms, and I could barely lift my arms for a couple days. And they were round. There was like a round shot, like I had like whole bunches of shots at once. I don't know what that was called, but I remember getting a couple of those before we were allowed to travel because we were normally we'd live on the base and my dad would go do whatever for a year, but this was like almost 2 years. Yeah, I take that.
This is a CVS blend,
Hmm.
and you get these cute little happy sticks. You rip them
Hmm.
open and throw them in your water. And I
Yep.
do about 4 of these per stein when I'm drinking this. I haven't had my dosage today, but I usually pop about 5 or 7 thousand of those a day. I know that sounds really like, oh, Bruce, you're just overdoing it there. Well, vitamin C just finds connective tissue, and between vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, and zinc, like that'll help you fend off whatever it is. Also, a little bit of honey, local honey, you'll be fine. I mean, we're all going to die at some point anyway. You'll just do better than the rest.
Yeah, we are. I mean, it might not even die from old age or sickness. You might get hit by a bus or fall off a cliff or some idiot runs you over while you're across the street. I mean, uh, it's all you can do is what you can at home is to try to take the best care of yourself. Wear your seatbelt. Try to do what you common sense tells you to do. But if someone else is involved, there isn't much you can do about it. So that's all you can do.
I I'm starting to just load up my weekend or my week of movie choosing,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess this is where I tell you what next week's is going to be.
I thought we already picked one.
We did.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
going to remind you.
Okay.
It's Cutthroat Island with Gina Davis.
And I've never seen it.
Neither have I.
So
I've
I'm
always wanted
excited
to.
about it. And I like Gina Davis.
I I like her acting. I don't know who she is or what she is personally or politically. I don't want to know because she did like a Hillary Clinton esque, The West Wing sort of show, or The Woman President. I don't know, but
Well, to me, that's a good sign. If you haven't really heard anything about her, like Cher or Bette Midler or some of that, that means that's a good sign. She doesn't have baggage to add to our, whether we like her or not.
I'm
We
pretty
can
sure.
just judge her on her acting.
Yeah, as an acting, like okay, there is an activism portion on her Wikipedia. She supports the Women's Sports Foundation. That might be good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if she just keeps the women with the women and keeps the dicks out of the women's sports, that's great. Gina Davis Institute on Gender in Media in 2007. And they increased the presence of female characters in media aimed at kids and reduce inequality in Hollywood. So Me Too advocate before Me Too. But I like Gina Davis's movies, and I know that sounds really stupid. I like The Long Kiss Goodnight. I like Cutthroat Island. I love The Fly.
Yeah, I did too. I thought she was really good in The Fly. It was great. And in Thelma and Louise, that's my favorite movie so far with her in it, and Susan Sarandon.
She had an
Very
ex-husband.
good.
Her ex-husband looks like Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, she was married to Jeff Goldblum.
She was married to Jeff Goldblum?
Uh-huh. I think so.
I don't know if she was or not. This is her ex-husband, Reza Jahari, but he looks like an Arabian version of Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, she likes guys that look that way. Big nose and glasses. But did you look and see if she was married to him?
No, not yet. Let me go to marriages here. She had Richard Nemolo and moved in with him. They married in 81, but separated in February 83. She then dated future Thelma and Louise co-star Chris McDonald, who she had briefly engaged. In 85, oh, okay, she married Jeff Goldblum on set of Transylvania 65000, and they appeared together in two more films, Fly and Earth Girls Are Easy, and then she files for divorce in October 1990. In 2022, the relationship was a magical chapter in my life. She told people that was the best thing that happened to her, which actually is probably not too late if you're of the Roland Emmerich mindset.
Mm-hmm.
More on that with the Roland Emmerich films. Bodyguard Gavin D. Becker was her boyfriend during the early 1990s. After a big courtship, she married filmmaker Rennie Harlan in 93. And then he directed her in Cutthroat Island and Long Kiss Goodnight, and she divorces him in 97. This is really, God, I hate reading this because she's more and more like Brigitte Nielsen than.
Wow, she's had a lot of relationships.
She likes the
she
cake.
gets around.
She really likes the cake. And then in 98, she dated Iranian American craniofacial plastic surgeon Rina Jahare and allegedly married him on September 1st of 2001 with 3 kids. They've made, she had twin sons in 2004. In May of 2018, she filed divorce from, in May 2018, Jahari files for divorce from Davis, listing their date of separation as November 17th or November 15th, 2017. And she responds by filing a petition, which she claimed that she and Jahari were never legally married, and their divorce became final in 2021, December of that year. And now their kids are now Jahari instead of Davis-Jahari.
Mm-hmm.
And then her activism, the more I read the activism part, I'm like, Bruce, get out of that. Get out. You still will appreciate her. Because I do. I really like Gina Davis. I mean, she's always been one of my favorite actresses.
But did you ever see Thelma and Louise?
If I say yes, no, I'm not gay. But I saw that movie, and it was kind of okay.
Mm-hmm. That was
it's
pretty
not
good.
My favorite.
Yeah, it's sad that Susan Sarandon is a communist. That's what somebody said it in the chat. And you got to remember, though, communism is for the people, not the communists.
Yeah,
That's why they're all happy.
yeah.
And
Until they
that's
start
something that
starving to
Andrew
death.
Wilkow says. And he's on, he has his own radio show. I think it's on Sirius XM. He has a 3-hour show. And I really like him. I like
Let's
what he has
see.
to say. I think he's a really good guy.
Well, my chat blew up while I was on another screen. Wow, that's great. Thank you guys. Um, wait, did I?
Oh,
Am I
somebody
seeing this?
sent you something at the bottom. I see
The
something.
convicted JHG
76.
76 sent me a 1999 super sticker, which appreciate that. You did not have to do that, but I will. Yeah, I'll put that to good use. And let me get this super sticker here. I got to see what we've got because they don't show it on StreamYard. Okay, that is rather kind of you. We have a super sticker which says "You are amazing" with confetti coming down. You don't have to do that. Appreciate that, guys. Really
Thank
do.
you. That was kind of you. And that picture sure looks familiar to me. The Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah, it's Woody.
Yeah, I have a friend that's on Twitter that uses that same picture. I wonder if it's him. I don't know his name on YouTube. And I forgot to send him the link. But I said, no, I did send him a link earlier today. So hopefully he used the same one.
You did not have to do that, and I thank you so much for that. Um, that was rather kind.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
sorry for getting so emotional, everyone, today, but this movie was very emotional for me. It's so
no,
well made. It's very well made. The acting was phenomenal. I just love this movie, and I'm telling you, I'm giving it a 9. I didn't get to rank it, but
uh,
I'm
I'm gonna
giving it a 9.
I'm gonna give
That's
this
out of 10.
movie on the scale of 100. I'm gonna give this movie an 81 because I think this movie you can't just go cold into this movie. This isn't a movie that you can just like sit down after a hard day of work and be like, "Oh yeah, this is great. This is everything I need." No, don't do that. This is not the movie for it. You're going to cut out in the first act. But if you want to watch a really good movie, which it embellishes on some legends of Scottish lore,
Hmm.
if you want to see a movie that does that, and Braveheart's not historically accurate either, so don't think that I'm trying to say that that is because it's absolute 90% of that is out of a script maker. It's not out of legal text from historical record. Okay, it's
Hmm.
not. William Wallace was a person, and that's about as far as that movie gets. They really embellish with that movie, but this movie here, it gives you enough to where when you start going down the rabbit hole, you can see where a scriptwriter would take the various conflicts going on around in Scotland, and he
Hmm.
would connect dots and he would assign certain characters to it. And this very well could have happened, but pretty certain that if this would have, it would have been a little bit more impressive. It would have, this movie would have gone even further than what it did. And this movie, for just fan service necessity, you have the perfect villain with Tim Roth. He
Yes.
is the great villain. And if you've never seen Braveheart, this is the best villain for 1995. There's not another villain that has this caliber in that year. I really love this movie, but I'm giving it an 81. It's just over a 4-star film out of
Hmm.
5. For me, I just think that and I don't rate movies really this high that often. Although last week you're going to probably kick me because I rated Invasion USA as an 85, but that's a movie that, except for the very astute and auteur, they're most people can just, oh, Invasion USA is on. Fuck, it's Chuck Norris, and they throw the remote control behind them, and they sit
Yeah.
down. Honey, get popcorn, and it's a good feel good movie, and
Hmm.
it's
Well, I liked it
yeah.
more than I liked Braveheart. I loved Braveheart though too, but I love this one more because it's more of my my passion of love and romance. I just love romance. I just wish there was more of it in the world. If more people were compassionate and more couples were truthful to each other, like this couple was, and were themselves with each other and argued with each other, you know, and shared their disgruntledness with each other, that type of thing, and
Mhm.
did it behind closed doors, where they didn't argue and stuff in front of anyone else.
Nobody else.
They
Yeah.
were very they just were very loving and respectful of each other. Okay. And if more couples could do that and look at their children and say, we are doing what we're doing as a couple for them, we are providing them a loving environment so they can grow up and one day have a loving environment themselves. When a young boy grows up watching his mother and his father and how the father treats the mother, okay, they grow up and pretty much do the same thing. So when you have a father that's abusive and he beats his kids and he beats his wife, more than likely the son's going to end up being the same way. And if you have a daughter, she's going to grow up marrying the same type of person her father was, because you're constantly wanting the love that you didn't get from this new person and from the parent that's abusive. It's a psychological thing. So the cycle just never ends. It just goes on and on and on. And today I just think it's so easy for people to just say, oh, well, I'm tired of this relationship. I'm just going to get another one. Swipe left, swipe left, It's ridiculous. I mean, I said this before in spaces. What cracks me up is I've got a couple friends that use like Tinder, and there's like Christian Mingle and some other ones. And it's funny. I've done some work with Christian Mingle before. So they don't use real people. They use actors and stuff to do those commercials and stuff. So I was a little sad.
Foreigners only.
But this one girl met a guy on one of those apps, and they went out. And the first night they're going to town, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm like, it's a total stranger, and you bring him to your house. I just can't understand that. I just think that is psycho. So in today's society, there's no way I'd bring a total stranger to my home, especially not to jump his bones. I would have made him get a hotel at least or something. But and then they start dating more and more. And after 3 or 4 months, she tells me, oh, it's his birthday's coming up and I need to get him a gift. And I said, get him some beautiful silk pajamas. And she's like, oh my God, that's too personal. And I'm like, what? You sleep with a guy, but you can't buy PJs? I just don't understand any of this stuff. It's just out of my realm. I just don't get it. The way people look at things, to me, is just I don't know. I guess I don't belong. I don't belong in this era, apparently.
Whoever the convicted JHG is, 76, if you have a particular movie you'd like us to watch, I am currently building a list of movies we are watching slowly. And next
His
week,
name's John. I think it's John. He's a friend of mine on Twitter.
Let us know, John, and what your request is. Cutthroat Island is next week, and then 2 weeks from next week is the 7th of August. And I was requested to do Bugsy Malone. And then Six Nation 31 Kings, often a frequent supporter of the channel, threw me the whisper. He's like, hey, Dangerous Liaisons is actually a movie I could definitely hear people talking about because it's got a really good cast and premise. And the Dangerous Liaisons is Glenn Close, John Malkovich, and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a 1990 film, 1988. So I'm looking forward to it.
Really good.
I don't remember it either, but those three right there make me happy.
So who picked Dangerous Liaisons?
That would be Six Nation 31 Kings.
Okay, because I love that movie too. That's one of my other favorites with Glenn Close movies.
Are you a Glenn Close fan?
Me? Yeah, I like her. I think she's good. She had a series out that was on TV that made me really think, wow, I put her up higher because of this series. It was called Damages. Have you heard of it?
I have.
there was a young woman in it and a young man that was in there that was an assistant to Glenn Close in it. I don't remember their names, but I really loved them. I just thought the whole series was really, really well written. It's a great series, and I just love Glenn Close in it. So it was good. Did you ever see that series?
No, I never have.
Well, I liked it. See, I wouldn't mind reviewing that series.
Okay.
I think it's only 2-3 seasons, but it was really well done. I think. Anybody in the chat see that? Damages? It was a TV series. I don't even know what channel it was on. I just remember watching it because someone said, "Hey, you need to check this out," and I did, and I was like, "Wow, this is pretty good." So,
Hey, Connell, I didn't even notice you were here. Travis says there's a couple problems with the movie. It's not really that noticeable, but they have rubber swords in a few scenes and they flap. I did not notice that. RPG Grandma talks about her crescent kick. She got it to shoulder height today. That's always nice.
Yeah. Man, that's good.
I like Kronos is in here. Hey, Kronos, how you doing? He loves the sword fight at the end of this movie.
Yeah,
chat, if you guys have like a rating scale and you've seen Rob Roy, throw your ratings in the chat.
Yeah, I would like to see it.
I'd like to know what you guys thought of this movie. Like I said, I gave it 81. She's giving it a 9 out of 10, which is a very respectable score. And as you guys know,
that's one of the highest ones next to The Great Raid and Tombstone, I think. So far.
Well, I guess those two movies will be trying to hit the same peak as The Great Raid. And
I hope so.
Here's something else I've been
going through lately. I see that he has a movie on there, it looks like. The Detour. That John posted.
Damn, Janet, that's an outfit. Yes, she's gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. I like this this special wig. It is a Victorian wig. It's supposed to look like those, those people wore back then. So
good to see Cam's in here. Grumpy's in here. All right. Flatey says he wants somebody to make a World of Darkness creation movie, but the way things are today, I don't want them to touch it. No, don't let anybody. Right now, we have the writer's strike going on. I know this will hurt the industry, but I'm so happy it's going on because there's not going to be a single thing pilfered or ruined or violated till like November or December.
Well, I don't know. What I would say is a lot of them tend to bring in a bunch of anybody's that will do whatever they're told when there's this type of thing going on, and they'll pick whoever.
Gods of Egypt had no Egyptians in it. That movie sucked dope balls. Yes.
I didn't see Gods of Egypt.
We will soon.
Oh no. Okay. I just hope it's not as bad as that Willy's Roadhouse or whatever it was called.
Willy's Wonder. She always calls Willy's Wonderland anything but Willy's Wonderland because it has affected her so much that
was the worst we've ever seen. It was so bad. I couldn't even watch it. I mean, I actually turned it off because it was so bad. I was like, I cannot watch any more of this. It was just terrible.
The Quicks are going to react badly. Bruce, you need to check out the PA State Senate hearing this last month. It was brutal and very revealing if you know who people of Bruce. Ooh. Yeah. I'll definitely have to check that out. Pure Blood for
What was it about?
Lady, what was the Pennsylvania State hearing on? You're talking about residuals. Put it in chat if you can. If not, text me on Discord. I'll read it and let people know loud. I don't want you to get in trouble.
I have a couple of friends that get checks and they're like did you see? They get checks for like the measliest amount of money, and they get it and they're like, I can't even afford to even put it in the bank. I don't make enough money to even, you'd have to have 20, 30 of them to put in to make it where it paid to put it in the bank, because they charge you to do that kind of stuff sometimes. So I don't know why they do it that way, but for some reason they do.
Lots of people in our chat, oddly enough, do not like pharma. It's amazing.
Oh, I thought he meant something else.
No.
I was kidding.
Uh, old cigar burning inoculation. Yeah, somebody was talking about anthrax. It's Flaty. Flaty one. The anthrax shots I'm used to. I have not had them myself, but friends and family have, and you get like 8 or 12 shots pretty much all at once, and then you get this tennis ball sized lump in your
Yeah,
shoulder.
that's what I said when I was a kid. It was a round circle,
Yeah,
and it was had a whole bunch of needles, and they just kind of jabbed you like that. And I remember getting one in each arm. I could barely lift my arms.
and then you get, by the time all this swelling goes down, it's time for another series of shots, and you do that for 6 months, and it's unhinged. It's crazy.
Well, we did it for a couple of weeks, and it was terrible. But John now says something on there. It says, is a different movie on there. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So he hasn't decided which one he wants yet.
Okay.
So which one for sure do you want to do?
Are you two able to communicate?
Yes, on
Then
Twitter.
what we'll do is we will have him in as a guest on that night, and whatever movie he chooses, we will watch that the day before
Uh-huh.
and review it and see how this works. Because I want to hear what he's got to say. I mean, I appreciate you. You don't have to give 1999 to us, but appreciate that. And I can't really scratch your back too much, but I can bring you on and have you share your thoughts as to why you wanted us to view this, and we can watch it all together as kind of like a group outing. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's great. And still pushing for more inoculations.
So now he's saying Goonies. He can't make up his mind. I'll have him tell.
Let him go through his memory hole of
Okay.
like films he loves. He's not going to make us watch Willy's Wonderland, okay?
No, that's
That'll
good.
be me.
Mm. Yeah, that'd be bad.
Not
But,
aiming to live forever and be pissed off the whole time. Yeah.
There was a name a second ago that I hadn't seen before in your chat. A new person. At least I don't remember seeing them. Life Form or something. I just saw the very ending of it.
Oh, Corporeal Life Form.
Yeah, I thought I saw his name in the chat.
Janet's gonna be wearing the same outfit next Monday. No,
I won't.
No, well, Cutthroat Island. It'll be similar, not the same outfit.
Like what? The one I wore, the Bear Winch one. Bear Winch was, this kind of era stuff, but it was different.
Yeah, I think Gina Davis is great in The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize she had that many ex-husbands. I really
Yeah,
did not
man.
know.
She's got a Rolodex. That's what it sounds like. That sounds bad, but there she. Hi, John. Thank you for joining us.
Beetlejuice is.
Oh yeah, that's another good one that Gina Davis was in.
Beetlejuice. What's the comment? Yeah, and that's typically how it works out.
Mm-hmm.
80s.
Well, if she had to be on the other end, the receiving end of a communism, she wouldn't want to be a communist. That's the thing. Communists are, it's for the people, not the communists. Because they all live better than everyone else.
I'm going through chat right now.
Is Goth Chicks a name of a movie? Is that why he said that?
Goth chicks. No, goth chicks. We just like goth chicks. The girls
really?
with black hair, typically well endowed.
The ones I've seen, they had the black fingernails and stuff. They're all like real skinny. I've never seen any with big boobs, unless they were just doing it for a sexy costume or something.
Well, there's an entire like subgenre or subculture.
Do you have them in your Discord? Hot chicks area?
I don't have. I'll ask my Discord friends if they want in the hot girls area, the red light district. Go ahead and post up some good big titty goth girlfriends. Because that's an area when you go in there, like it comes on screen like this is nudity. Are you really wanting to go in here? It's nudity.
I've been in there a few times, and it's pretty a lot of nudity in there.
Yeah. John Staven, good avatar. Let's see. I'm sorry. Tell Janet it's me, the real John Stavern. Okay. I haven't seen Rob Roy in a few years. It's not bad. Funny how it came out so close. It was. It was like these two movies came out at the same time. These guys in Hollywood, like in '94, they're like, I want to do period pieces. I want to do period pieces. I want to do men with big swords.
But they weren't both made by the same, company,
No,
were they?
I don't think so.
See,
I mean,
it is interesting though how sometimes it seems like two different studios get a hold of a script, but you got to remember it doesn't just happen like that. This script had to been in there for a while for them to be looking at it, looking for locations and everything. So it's not like it, it's very unlikely that one said, "Oh my God, we got wind. They're making this movie. We got to make another one like it." You know what I'm saying? Because it takes so long for some movies to even make it to the theater after it's been made, depending on, who's in it, who the director is. I mean, all that. So it takes a while sometimes.
and one thing about Braveheart I really enjoy is that Mel Gibson never felt like he was the right age for Braveheart. He said, "I'm about 10 or 15 years too old."
Mhm.
No, I don't think they were made by the same company. I think they were made by different publishing houses. Yeah, we love Rob Roy, dude. That's wow. Here's a hot take, guys. Don't beat up Freeman's Focus, but
Hey,
he
I
said
feel the same way.
Rob Roy beats Braveheart every day. That is some amazing. That's a good hot take, but we'll see how that works. I haven't gotten to the critical like scoring yet. Jedi Bill should be in here. Braveheart's good on his own. Chrono says I like them both. Anybody here have an actual critical score they want to give for Rob Roy? I'd be more than happy to announce that and talk about that because I think Rob Roy is a movie that stands for the most part really well, and even almost 28 years after its release, you
Mhm.
have a movie that is really 28. Yeah. Oh shit. Um, you have a movie that stands very well against the test of time.
Mhm.
The action is good, the music's great, the set pieces are great. There's not a weak link in this film. Janet and I, we always look at things very critically. I'm not a Hollywood butt guy. Janet does have a resume. Okay, she's been on sets. She's done Star Trek set work, not for the official Star Trek, but for some of the many amazing fan fiction pieces that are out there. And if you guys haven't seen Star Trek Continues, I do heavily recommend you spend about 15 hours watching Star Trek Continues. It's on YouTube, it's free, and you should watch it because if you love Star Trek, you're going to love it. It's done properly. It's not this Discovery bullshit.
Yeah. Good. Or Picard.
I don't acknowledge anything past Star Trek
What's
Beyond.
funny is I have on my Twitter thing, I say that I love comic books and Star Trek.
Mhm.
Okay. And I've had many, many people invite me to their space because I like Star Trek. And we get in there and they start talking about it. And we talk about different episodes and different things like that. And then they bring up Picard. And I'm like, I'm not watching it. And they're like, what? It's a great show. And I go, no, it isn't. Then we start getting in an argument. I'm like, it sucks. All I had to watch was some of the outtakes and the premise of the story. And I'm like, I'm not going to ruin my vision of Picard from Next Generation. I just don't want to put that in my mind along with what I like. It's just I'm not going to do it. That's why another reason why I didn't watch Captain Marvel.
This is a sad fact today. There are entire schools today where no kid comes from a dual parent home. And that should explain about everything wrong with our society right there.
Mhm.
Because the school has decided to take over parenting. The government has already told the wife or the husband or the single parent, you can stay single, we'll pay you.
Mhm. Yeah, I've seen videos on YouTube from women that get the little card, and they've done videos about how to make the best of your EBT card.
Yep.
So you can get your nails done, get your hair did, and all that stuff. They talk about how you can use those cards to get different things. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Now, see, those videos are up, but man, you better not talk about COVID or pedophiles. You can't talk about any of those things, or you could
Yeah.
lose your channel. But you can talk about your EBT.
Talk about
That's
EBT
ridiculous.
and talk about anything, but don't you
Or you
bigots
can
not
pierce
talk
your
about Tommy.
genitals. You can have a zoomed in lens of your vajayjay or your penis getting pierced and or tattoos or whatever, and that's okay. But you can't talk about those things because that's misinformation.
Six Nation says
Ridiculous.
Highlander had love, romance,
Hmm.
action, and kilts too, but they also had Queen. Rob Roy and Braveheart lacked that.
They talked about the Queen
Yeah, they
in
did. She
Broadway
was childless.
about she
It's
was
like,
barren because she had so
yeah,
many children that died. She
yep.
couldn't carry babies to term. I mean, and then in the ones that did live, only lived to a very short time.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I feel really bad for her because she was not able to have a fruitful.
Convicted, John. I'm sorry if my Discord's loaded with bots. I've got a few bots in there that just do some things, and I once you get into the general area, the bots kind of leave you alone. There's certain areas for the bots to do stuff.
I don't think I have any bots in mine. Maybe unless it's automatic.
No, you have to plant them in there yourself.
Oh,
Chuck Norris films are my jam, says RPG Grandma, which is great because I love Canon films, and Canon films is like the happy button. 1 to 100, Braveheart was a 90. Rob Roy was close, and we get a mid 80s. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
mhm.
I know a lot of people don't like.
See, I'm just the opposite of that.
Okay,
I give
you,
Rob Roy a little higher rating, and then Braveheart's just a little less underneath
well,
because
yeah.
that's a
Because I
more
mean,
personal story for me. For
I can
my,
see where like somebody would look at the romance action in Braveheart, and they were like, but William Wallace had Sophia Marceau, who was carrying his child. That's a good movie. He dies
Mhm,
with an unrequited love. It's still hanging out there, and she has a kid.
mhm.
It's a
Well,
great romance.
I know, and so
And
did Jessica Lange. She had a kid, and he
yeah,
said to name it after her brother, and if it was a girl, alas, to name it after herself, his love of his life. And I just thought that was. I'm sorry. Every single line that he said to her, anything they said to each other was so romantic. Even when they argued, I could see the love between them. At least for their acting ability, I just thought it was phenomenal.
hey
Sorry.
Brooke, take care of yourself, my friend, and I hope you have a great day tomorrow, man. Hope to hear from you soon.
Bye. Thank you for coming by. We
So Foster
appreciate it.
Company. We have Brooke
Yeah,
screaming
we've
for
done
Rise
the
of
last
Starfighter.
Starfighter.
Yeah,
We
we
did
we
that
already.
movie.
I rated that movie pretty high, if I remember right.
We both did. It's a very good movie. But he needs to go. You need to go down Bruce's list on his page so you can watch our review of that if you'd like.
It's in the playlist.
Yeah.
Satin Sheets Suck. It's a great flick. Last Strider was a good film too. John Wick before he was Ted Theodore Logan. Oh wow. Bill and Ted's excellent adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing for Stanley Kubrick yet. When we get to that, I'm torn between doing 2011, the year we make contact, or
Mm-hmm.
either that or Eyes Wide Shut, which is a movie that killed him.
I'd rather do the other one.
Okay,
Did you like Eyes Wide Shut?
I haven't seen it yet.
Well,
It
I saw
that
it.
that
I didn't
that
think it was pretty
topic. I'm sure I won't like it, but that topic intrigues me. Just like the shit around a certain statue in the shape of an owl that Alex Jones videotaped in 1997.
good. Mm-hmm.
That shit intrigues me.
Mm-hmm.
If Ren the Kodan Armada, no, Azure Frontier, my bad. A lot of accents. I haven't seen Damages. We haven't done Forbidden Planet. We need to do Forbidden Planet.
I haven't done that.
Yeah. And he says the detour. John, get in touch with Janet with what movie you want to have us
Yeah,
watch.
send it to me on my DM, and I'll make sure
Yeah.
Bruce gets it.
What briefly, I was in the process of breaking free of the Matrix. Yeah.
Mhm.
95, 85. He says Rob Roy gets a 95. That's Brooks' score. Kronos gives it a score of 85.
Mhm.
Lady says Tombstone is magnificent. That's probably
Yes.
my favorite cowboy film of all time.
Yeah. It's really, really excellent movie. You got pretty good views on that one too, don't we?
Yeah, I think you
Mhm.
keep sprinkling it with some happy dust, and people will grab it, and it takes off. Um, Cigar DM rates Rob Roy a 65. He has a lot of complaints listed up there, mainly that there's an Irishman playing a
Is he
Scotsman.
the one that said that the swords were rubber?
No, that would be Travis J.
Okay,
1975.
I remember you saying it, but it's just hard for me to read the chat because I got a blonde wig on. I can't read and walk and chew gum at the same time.
Everything slows down with the blonde hair on.
That's right. I know. I had two sisters that are blonde, and that's exactly what they're like.
Uh, Pan's Labyrinth is a great movie, but have a
Mhm.
shot of something handy for the end.
Mhm.
Yeah, that movie is.
I
Yeah,
haven't seen it.
you've never seen Pan's Labyrinth?
Mm-mm.
All right, I guess I have to put that on the list too.
Okay.
We're never going to get
Hey,
to.
what I told you, we're never going to run out of movies. We're going to
No, we
do this
won't.
until we're both in wheelchairs and in nursing homes, and we have IVs hooked up to us.
Chasing around nurses.
Now,
Huh?
whether anyone else is going to come watch us, but
Eh.
we'll do it. It'll be
Hi,
fun.
my name is Bruce, and if you hear something gurgling, it's just my colostomy
Where's
bag.
my teeth?
Janet isn't wearing her real hair. No, Kronos. Okay,
No, this is a wig. It's one of those Victorian wigs. See how there's no bangs? It just goes
straight up in the
curly.
front.
Like the Victorian people wore. Like every scene Tim Roth was in, and any of the decadent people, they're wearing one of these wigs, these fake things on their head.
Rob Roy
It
is a solid.
shows how rich and decadent you are.
Yeah, Six
Oh,
Nations.
Hungar sent you something too.
Yeah, 80 out of 100. That's I can agree with that. I really
Mhm.
can.
Yeah, that makes good sense. I gave it a little higher than that.
I
I
saw
gave it a
Gods of Egypt.
90%.
Yeah, gotta riff the hell out of Gods of Egypt. We will. RPG Grandma says that she thinks this movie is a 90%, which
Yeah,
I
that's
give.
what I said. Mhm. I agree with her.
Lady's going to DM something. COVID. How about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, dude? Jack Nicholson and that engine in that movie are fantastic.
Mhm.
I did not expect the movie to end that way, but I really am happy the movie ended that way.
Yeah, one movie that I really was sad that hasn't done better was Just One of the Guys. I still love that movie. I laughed and laughed. The brother in that was all it ever did was just make me wish I had a brother. I love that brother in that movie. It's a good comedy.
I My dad told me he wants us to watch The Bronx Tale here soon. All right, you don't have
I
to
haven't
be
seen that either.
another super sticker. Wow. Convicted JHG 76 hands us a 9.99 super sticker for tonight. Did not
Mhm.
have to do that, but I truly
Thank you. That's sweet of you because we donate to the veterans.
appreciate that. And got a super sticker there. And then our friend Hungar the Barbarian, who I have not scrolled all the way down, Hungar. He gave us $2 just because.
Oh, thank you.
Really appreciate that, my friend.
Sweet. Don't forget to check out isn't he the one that has the cool t-shirts?
Yes, he does. And maybe I should go check his page now because he said he was working on this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me check out Hungar Starvarian. Hold on. I know this sounds like Bruce. Really? No. You don't understand. This guy makes some really great T-shirts, and I think support the people you enjoy. You watch. Okay. He has not added any new T-shirts yet. However,
Did you order one of the ones with the people standing behind the couch?
I like this one here because it's Hungar's face on that little
Yeah.
girl, little blonde-haired girl
Mhm.
with the 5 men looking eagerly at her.
Mhm.
I'm gonna need to get that. I really do need to get that.
You probably get beat if you walk
Yeah,
around wearing that shirt. But I love that Afro one. It's so funny.
yeah. This is my favorite shirt that I have right now, and I've probably worn that shirt. It's not the same color of black that it used to be.
Yeah.
I've worn it a lot. And then he has another great shirt. This one here, where he took a Frazetta, Frazetta, and he put his face on Conan's body, which is absolutely great. If you like this sort of thing, let me put this in the chat for you because I want this guy to do well. Hey, it
Yeah, I
mentions
haven't
me.
seen that movie yet either. Six Nations. I've never seen Dog Soldiers.
What?
I haven't
Really?
seen that one either. And I've always wanted to, but something always came up every time I get to watch it because I love werewolves and vampires. So, the story that I'm writing doesn't have werewolves in it, but I'm writing a vampire stories myself. So
RPG Grandma says
I like Wolfen. What was the name of that actor that was in Wolfen? He was really popular back then. My mom really liked him, but I cannot remember. I
Wolfen?
can see his
Was that
face.
Tommy Lee Jones?
No, it was some other guy, and I think he was married to the mother that was in ET. The actor, I think he
Albert
was
Finney,
married to her.
Diane
Yeah, I think
Vigora,
it's yeah.
Al Finney. Yeah.
Albert Finney. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he married to whatever her name is, the mom
I think
from
so.
ET?
She was
I just
also the
remember my
mother
mom liked
in Critters, though. Don't forget.
Critters.
Wait, you didn't forget about the movie Critters, did you?
I don't think I've seen it. I don't think. Are they the little things that look like little balls of fur with mouths?
And Porcupine Quills.
Okay. I think I have seen it, but it's not, not at the top of my list because I don't think it was very good.
Albert Finney was not married to the mother from E.T. He was married to Penny Dalmage.
Dalmage. I'm trying to remember. What does she look like? I'll have to look her up. She really good looking?
I don't know.
Is she European?
She's in the Band of Brothers TV series and A Good Man in Africa in 1994. But then her husband, Albert Finney, died in 2019. Actually, she was just additional crew, so she wasn't even on the front side of the camera.
My internet is not very good. See, even in this office in my house, my service is really bad. I have to have a booster just to have cell service.
Are you using a landline or a...
I have a landline phone too, just for emergencies because my service, I don't have cell service. I have to have a booster to boost, just to have internet on my, Bluetooth or whatever you call it. Because I'm in the boonies. That's why I said it's very frustrating to leave from a city where you can drive down the street and get a daiquiri at a drive-through and bring it home to going to have to drive 45 miles to buy wine. I mean, I'm telling you, it's not something you want to go through. It's hard.
Listen, I would much rather have have the country life and just go to the city once a week.
Yeah, and I have a septic tank. I don't have where where you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. You see what I mean?
You live too far away for me to be a problem.
Yeah, it's been trying to learn how to be a country girl again. It's tough. I mean, I can do it. I've been doing it, but it just sucks. What is it?
No, he says Picard belongs on the X-Men, not Star Trek.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well,
I believe this.
I
believe so.
I preferred him as that character from X-Men. I did, but the new one that they've made is terrible. I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah, I don't watch new Trek. I did watch the three new Trek movies because I can differentiate between that timeline and this timeline, and I think they can stay separate far enough. And there was multiple times where when I would go on vacation as a kid with my parents, we're going out camping. So let me buy a stack of comic books, and I buy like 6 or 7 Star Trek comics, and none of them are on the same timeline. But you have to have the like last 50 Star Trek comics, and then you can start weaving this giant line of continuity where everything ties together because you got to go to the panel one where the star date's at, and that's where you figure out how all this ties into the other shit. And we didn't have a good drugstore in Clinton, Illinois, so like they
Mhm.
would have things just completely out of order. You were AFU if you went in there. So I just bought every Star Trek I could, and I'll figure it out later. And I really enjoyed Star Trek comics, and I kind of view the Star Trek movies, the J.J. Abrams movies, which includes Star Trek Into Darkness, which is the worst tragedy of Trek I've ever seen. But Star Trek Beyond really made me happy for some odd reason, and I think
Mhm.
it's just the way that the crew worked itself together. I think that was probably the best last gasp of mainstream Trek we're going to get. And then we have Star Trek Continues, which all of you should watch.
But you know
And
what?
what?
I'm hoping this is what I've been hoping. I've seen some really good fan Trek. Okay.
That's
I'm
why I
really
say Star Trek.
hoping that if somehow somebody opens their eyes, okay, and says, I want to bring the fans back to Star Trek. So we're going to go and watch some of these fan films and film shows, and we're going to pick and choose from some of them, the writing and stuff like that, and bring Star Trek back. That could be possible if they would do that. People that love Star Trek, writing Star Trek would be so good. And then you get actors that aren't woke to play the characters because they actually want to be Star Trek. You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
I still believe that's possible, and I still believe that's possible with Star Wars and Marvel and DC. I really do believe that, and maybe that this strike that's about it's not started yet, is it, or is it already started?
It's on. It's on
Okay,
right
it's
now.
on. It's fully on now.
Yeah.
So maybe something good like that might come out of it. That we can get some independent um, writers to push a few things and start getting like this movie that's out right now. It was an independent movie, right? And it's been really good because the fans of the film are telling people, go see the movie, go see the movie, stay after the credits, blah, blah, blah.
This.
The same thing with Deadpool, okay?
Yeah.
Because Ryan Reynolds wanted to see the real Deadpool that he thought he was going to get to be when he was in the movie as Deadpool, and realized it was nothing. The people didn't like it. I was disgusted by what they did to him. Now, when he was the merc with the mouth part, it was
Yeah.
great. But as soon as we saw him as Deadpool, we were like, what the is this shit? At least that's what I did. I was like, this is
They
bullshit. I
didn't
almost
call
got
him
up and
Deadpool. They
left.
just called him Wade.
Okay, yeah. I
They,
almost got up and left because I was so mad because I like Deadpool. He's one of my favorites. He's an anti-hero, just like Wolverine. And that's who I loved. Morbius was the same thing, anti-hero. So almost all my favorites were anti-heroes, bad boys. They had good in them, whatever you want to call it. But
Connell got a little defensive here. Says, I know I have a number of family that's together. Their Snap card does not work the way Janet illustrated. Okay.
no, I
All
know
right.
that. I know it doesn't. I have
Go
the
ahead.
girl that made the video. That's what she's saying, how to use your Snap and be able to take money from it and do this stuff with it. That's what she was talking about in the
Yeah.
video. But I
Yeah.
have relatives that are on all the care and stuff because they're single or whatever, and they need the help and they should get it. But the sad fact is the people that really deserve to get it are screwed
They have to
over
fight
because
for
the
it.
people that aren't supposed to have it. That's
Yeah.
what's wrong. That's what upsets me about it. because mom needs milk and cereal for her kid. She should get it. That's Arkansas is good about that because we have the Arkansas First program, Arkansas Kids First. And so any child within a certain age, their parents will get assistance, period, because of the child. And I think that was Sarah Huckabee's dad that did that.
Yep.
Added that in the
Mike
States.
Huckabee did this.
Mm-hmm. So.
Convicted, John says North Carolina is making parents conform with gender challenged kids. He saw this on the news today. If this is confirmed and true, then what I want you to do is get very active in your local school districts and raise hell. Seriously, you're gonna have to over 70 decibels go to your local school board with some other very fired up people and be like, no, we're not doing this. Flady says we don't even speak of the even number of Star Trek or the even number of Star Trek films, which I disagree with, because 2, Wrath of Khan, is probably the Trek I've watched the most. 4, Star Trek 4 Beyond, Star Trek 4, what was it, The Voyage Home? That's the one that I've probably seen the most. And then we have Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, which is a fantastic send-off. And unfortunately, they made Generations after it, and I don't like Generations. But I would disagree. I don't. I think of the original series. I wouldn't talk much about the Star Trek the motion picture, because that's really just a rehashing of where Nomad has gone before, and I'm not into. I like Nomad the first time, but then we got Space Chick, and I like Persia Kambata. I don't like her in the motion picture film. She gets very Natalie Portman-esque, like episode 1 Natalie Portman, and I didn't really enjoy that. Now, I enjoyed seeing Deckard's son in the movie, and there's a lot of good parts of the motion picture. If you want a sci-fi movie with a lot of sexual underpinnings, motion picture, lots of sex. Sorry. Sorry, Grandma. She got into the second season of Picard and she just stopped. She can't get into it.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people. That second season.
One would think a field so often plowed would yield at least one good crop.
Yeah, it was that's really sad about a real woman.
Kronos echoes my thoughts. Even numbered Trek. Wrath of Khan is great. Oh, it can only be one.
That was my favorite one, though. My favorite Star Trek movie was The Wrath of Khan.
Well, you have a lot of things done right with that movie. We'll have to watch it next year.
And the other one that a lot of people don't agree with me is the one with V'ger in it. I just love that movie.
The one I just complained about.
I know. I can't help it. The romantic story in that to me made it brought it higher up for me. I don't have a problem with it not being your favorite. And, I don't like you any less because you like it or you don't like it. I can't help it. I'm going to be honest about my feelings about what I like. And that was one of the reasons I loved it. I just thought that was such a good romantic story.
Cigar DM's going to have a real problem whenever we have Kroll, when we review Kroll, and they have, of all things, Liam Neeson's playing a fucking tall Cyclops. He's not even a Cyclops in real life. How can we do this?
Yeah, it'll be fine. We'll do fine.
He was the best. I love Ricardo Montalban in that movie, and he actually was good on Fantasy Island too. Those are the only 2 things I was ever exposed to him on. I have to go through his IMDb and find some stuff on YouTube to watch.
Just think about it. How many women would say they think a man that has a mullet hairstyle and wearing and he's older and he's wearing a shirt kind of like mine, but a little lower with a lot of hairy chests showing for for all the women, you know what I mean? And all the women were like, he's hot in this movie.
Look at that farmer's tan right there. Look at that.
Yeah, you got a redneck.
Yeah.
So that's why they call people rednecks, because they're hard workers. They're
Okay.
out slaving away in the sun with their shirt on.
John joined up with Christian Mingle and is filled with bots. Not here, not on the Discord.
Oh, okay. He
There's
was talking
bots
about
on
that.
Christian Mingle. Yeah.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Oh, we are really behind. Highlander was great fun. A screenplay from a college class. The professor didn't give a good grade, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
A screenplay from a college class. The professor did not give a good grade, if I remember right. That's probably true. I'm happy you're here now, Kronos, and thankful for everybody that decided to show up. You guys didn't have to show. You didn't have to give us money. You didn't have to do this. I appreciate you. Like,
you guys.
if I could go among all of you and just shake your hand vigorously, firm handshakes, boss like, for as much of a 5'6" guy I can be, like I'd give you the best handshake I could give, or a hug or whatever. I really appreciate this. This is becoming an addiction now. John wants the Flight of the Navigator. Oh yeah, that was a great movie. It had Sarah Jessica Parker and Howard Hessman in it. Yeah, that was a great film. You know what else that movie got buried by? Top Gun.
Oh, that's right.
And,
yeah, we tend to forget that years ago, before the people that are currently making movies in the last, I'd say 8 years, before that, people in these companies actually cared about making the best movies they could because they wanted to compete with the other people that were making the best movies that they could. And there used to be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 movies that were big, big blockbuster movies all in 1 year. And everybody was scrambling to go see all of them. But today we're all running from the theaters because there's not shit there. You know what I mean? We're totally opposite of it.
John says 98%. He is just an all-around great guy. I love Rob Roy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great score. I mean, if you feel 98%, that's fantastic. And earlier, Hungar gave us just because some $2 money. I appreciate that. That'll pay for the postage for the upload for PayPal. Really appreciate that. The Wounded Warriors will like that. They also wear Merkins. Yes.
Merkins. Yeah. Kronos and I got in a discussion about that because he showed me what a Merkin was. Remember that? And I couldn't believe it. I didn't know people really did that stuff, but they do.
Here's one of my favorite films from the early 2000s. It's not a great film. Is it a very enjoyable movie? Absolutely. And I think Janet would dig it because the guy gets in touch with his emotions by the end of the film. There's a huge character arc that goes from start to finish on Equilibrium, and it's very well done for that. I don't think it holds up so well now, but for back in 2003 when it came out, amazing show.
I felt that way about Lars and the Real Girl.
Crafting Gamer, that'll be 7 p.m. next Sunday night. And for those that don't understand what I just said, at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Sundays, we open up a Discord and we have a watch party. And we watch a film from way back. And then on Monday, we discuss it here. And I have a lot of friends like you that come in the chat and discuss their feelings, or you guys rub shoulders and talk amongst yourselves. But this has been one of the most active chat nights I've ever had. And I really
I was like, it's really going. We'll get a lot of people talking, which is good. I mean, it's fun.
What do you think of Bruce Campbell, Janet?
You mean from the one who cut his hand and said, groovy? That one?
Yes.
I think he's kick-ass. And he's a lot of fun, too. I mean, if you go to meet him at a con.
I met him in Decatur, Illinois. He was walking around town right about the same time he's doing the press tour for Have Sex the Bruce Campbell Way novel he did.
Yeah. He seems like a wonderful person. Like he'd sit down with you and eat barbecue and lick his fingers, just a normal guy, but nice.
Like, he's a normal guy, great. But when we met him in the 90s, he was still pulling the trick where like you'd meet him and you'd say, "Yeah, I love what you did in Equilibrium." That was, or not Equilibrium, in Evil Dead 2, because
Mhm.
there's a point where his hand rebels against him and he would grab the back of his neck and he flipped himself in the movie.
Uh-huh.
And we said this to him and he did that on the sidewalk on Main Street in front of the Avon Theater.
Yeah.
This is like four hours before everything started to kick off because he's showing off. I think it was Bubba Hotep is the movie
Mhm.
he was pumping out at the time, and he had the book that came out, the Have Sex Bruce Campbell Way, and it's a fantastic book. I wish I could just get the chin. I want his Thanos chin. There's so much power there.
Mhm.
He has an amazing chin, but
Yep. He's a fun guy. I mean,
yes,
so many people don't realize that most of Hollywood, I'd say 80% of people that are involved in movies making are like him.
yeah.
You'd be really surprised how many of them are just normal people that get up every day, have coffee, sit and visit with their family, whatever, go shopping and do whatever, and that's them. They're just like us. And then you have the rest that are all they don't want to have nothing to do with you because you're beneath them. That
Hey,
that's the way
Hungar,
it
let us
is.
know sometime whenever you want us to do a movie of your choosing. We'll do it. You've contributed to my channel. You and your brother have contributed to my channel enough where both got a few picks. Okay, you guys got three each. You seriously, you don't have to do this, but I appreciate it. But if you want to do that, and you want to be on the panel with us on Monday following that viewing, that'd be great.
And
Hungar's Fro.
he can join us too and watch the movie with us.
Yeah, the Sunday night we open up the Discord, we watch the film, and then Monday we do the discussion of it. If it's a super chat request, we bring bring them in as a panelist. They're part of the show, unless they have to go to bed, which I understand that your bedtime.
But even if it's just for a little bit, it'd be nice if you wanted
That'd be
to come
great.
by and say hi.
That'd be great. And Hungar's Fro kills me every time, dude. I wear that shirt in public, and like I get hugs from strange women. It's kind of weird, but whatever. My wife wears that shirt in public, and like people like look at her. I wear it, and I get like it's like she hates it because when we go out in public, if there's a dog in public, the dog sees Bruce, Bruce sees dog. Hey, how you doing? And I get on I lower myself to its eye level. I play with the dog. The dog licks my face, licks my neck, and she's like, the dog won't even pay attention to me. Sorry, maybe I taste good. I don't know. She tries to reach out for the dog. The dog won't snap at her, but he'll just be like, "Oh yeah, hi," and he walks off. I wear that shirt with the fro, Hungar's face. Like people are like, I love that. Come here. You know when you're like a little kid and you go to like Thanksgiving with your grandparents and like your aunt, like she grabs a hold of your cheeks and she pinches them, and like you can feel their skin going away. It's being rested off your skull, and then like you get put in a barrack. That happens. So
Well, that
thank you.
happens to me when I wear, I mean, I
That
don't
shirt's like
normally
that.
wear it here, but I'll wear it when I go on vacations and stuff to
Okay.
Florida or to Texas or to Las Vegas or whatever. I wear my shirt and it's got Bill Murray on it and it says Pritzi's Honor.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's got Bill Murray on it. It's my Chive shirt. And everybody stops and wants to get their picture taken because they collect Chive shirts. So I think it's great.
I like that. And here's where they were talking about Dog Soldiers, one of the top werewolf films ever made. I would say Dog Soldiers, Wolf with Jack Nicholson, and the Wolf movie with Benicio del Toro. That was actually very much underappreciated. I thought it was good.
Yeah, that's a good movie. What's the name of that one? The one with Jack Nicholson is a werewolf.
Wolf.
And the guy, Wolf? Oh my
Wolf.
gosh. That's got the guy from Mannequin, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a werewolf and he's a nasty. And then you got Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yep.
And oh yeah, oh my God, I forgot about how good that movie was. I love that one. We can do that in the month of October sometime, right?
Yes.
That's a good one. Oh, American Werewolf in London. That's a good one too. I
Gene
forget
Wolfe.
how many good movies there are.
I don't. I just say this, Janet. I know that whenever I log on to a site like Tubi or Pluto or any mass media show site like that, I know that no matter what I pick, it's going to be something that I probably haven't seen in a long time. I love it. And yes, Critters was hilarious. I'm a big Scott Grimes guy. I didn't realize this until I saw Critters again. I'm like, man, when this movie came out, I wanted to be his friend because he played with explosives and he still
Oh.
had all his fingers. We had a kid in town that didn't.
And what about the other movie that has explosives in it? Tremors.
Tremors is great.
Yeah, that's a great movie. The guy that played oh, I can't
Egg
remember the name of
Shin
the
is
movie.
in that movie.
Who?
Egg Shin, the guy from the magician from Little Big Shop or a Little Big
Oh
Trouble in
yeah,
Little
but the
China.
guy, the guy that's alongside Kevin Bacon, he had a movie that came out, and he
Yep.
was I'm trying to remember the name of it. I cannot remember the name of it, but it was a real big hit. Uh, Give me a minute. I can't even remember the actor's name. I remember faces really well. I just do not remember people's names. I'm really bad about it.
Albert Finney was Scrooge was my favorite Scrooge. See, Albert Finney's good, and
Uh-huh.
then there was a Muppets Scrooge movie that was really good
You
too.
didn't like the one with called Scrooged with Bill Murray?
Bill Murray was great.
That was a funny one. That was pretty good.
There's like 7 or 8 hours of quality Scrooge. I know that sounds bad, and I can't just like sit here all day and like watch movies with you. I wish I could, guys. That
Yeah, I
sounds
do too.
terrible.
Wouldn't that be great if
No,
we could
not
just
really.
watch
Because
movies every single day?
I would get so fat. I would have to. All right, guys, you keep watching. I got to go
We
run.
could just watch movies while we're walking or riding a bicycle to make the TV run. You know, those ones that
We'll go to the
you
gym
hook up
together.
and it keeps the
We'll have
power on.
we'll go to the gym together, and we'll boot up our
Hi,
tablets and.
Papa Cotton. Thank you for joining us.
Gremlins was great. That the Gremlins Part 1 and 2. You need to see those two movies like back to back because there's a synergy that series has together. It's like 3.5 hours, 3 hours and 45 minutes, and that
Mhm.
is such a good movie. Don't see them singly. See them both together.
Mhm.
Don't take the boosters. Not to knock Bill Murray, he was good too. I don't need a booster shot, says Kronos.
Booster seat.
I don't need a booster seat. George C. Scott was best Scrooge ever. I loved him, and yeah, he's fantastic. The movie with Joaquin Phoenix. You were never really here. No, I've not seen that yet. Raising Arizona with Nicolas Cage is one of the better Coen brother movies I've seen. I've seen a lot of them. Kung Fu is Shogun Samurai. Bruce, check your Discord general chat. Uh-oh.
That movie, that samurai movie, is that the one where the samurai has a little baby in a cart that he's pulling behind him?
I don't know.
Shogun or something. That's the very first kung fu movie I remember ever seeing, and I don't remember if that's it or not. I just remember I think it went. I don't remember if it was in color or black and white. I just remember it was a big samurai guy, and he had two swords on his back, and he was pulling a baby in a wagon. That's the only scene I can remember about the movie, but that was the first one that I could remember seeing.
All right, guys, close your eyes and 3, 2, 1, open your eyes. Oh, look, it's Hungar the Starbarian here to save us.
And he's killing that mean snake.
That big snake is getting the
He's
sword.
saving his slave girl.
She's what she's going to be doing later, which is good. That's what we
Be a
want.
nice girl.
Yeah, she's going to be a nice girl for him.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you, Hungar. That was fantastic. Forgot about George C. Scott. I got to bump him to the top. Challenge of the Masters, Super Ninja, and 5 Deadly Venoms, and Crippled Avengers. I like 36 Chambers of Shaolin these movies are fantastic. Super Ninjas and Five Deadly Venoms is great. Do not watch these and then expect the same level of quality from an American Ninja movie. Just a FYI,
Yeah.
all great films. Only Christmas Carol that ever scared me. Yeah, the George C. Scott version was actually pretty spooky. I saw it when I was like 12, and it was really good.
I don't think I've seen that one.
This is the only movie for Star Trek I've not seen in the theater. Was The Undiscovered Country. The Undiscovered Country was the last time I saw Trek in a theater. Everything else was video or streaming. And that's not that's Six Nations saying that. My own personal experience was I saw everything but The Undiscovered Country in the theater. Star Trek 5 pissed me off. And then when the Next Generation movies came out, which they were not as good, I don't know why they weren't as good, but I don't find as much joy in the theater versions of that. Now, season 6 of Next Generation gets really good. That's all I can say.
John posted something. He said Remo Williams. That's the movie I was thinking about. The actor that was in Tremors.
Yes.
Right. And that's what I was trying to say.
Tremors. Let me look.
I think it's the same guy.
Fred Ward. Yep.
Because that's why I went, oh, I know that guy, that actor.
And there's a bunch of other Remo Williams movies I found out. I did not realize that. I will have to. I love bad movies, so I'll have to watch these. But yeah, Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins is a Fred Ward movie. And it's got Fred Ward, Joel Grey, Wilford Brimley. Oh my God, Wilford Brimley, J. Preston, George Coe, and Charles Ciaffi, and Kate Mulgrew. There's our Star Trek tie-in. Are we going to become like Red Letter Media, and every time there's something about a Star Trek actor or an actor that was in Star Trek, or a Star Trek, one of the many Star Treks, we stumble across that and we talk Star Trek for 4.5 minutes? Just a sign of the times. Yeah, Illinois is one of the big drugstore. Yeah, it is.
That's sad.
Star Trek 6 in the theaters was great. I missed out because I really love that movie. She says she likes Lower Decks. Okay, that's good. I'm happy that there are people that like Lower Decks because there's a small number of people that are friends of mine that actually they won't talk about it in front of me, but they will say Lower Decks is pretty good. And that's, there's a majority of friends I have that say things
I had
like
some friends that said that Picard is good.
The third season made a lot of people I know really go back to it. And they say, skip season 1, skip season 2, season 3 is great. But I don't want to have to do that. It's jumbled up, and there's a time-space continuum loop that's fucked up, and now Picard is doing stuff, and now there's 7 of 9, which is involved with Picard. Why? I don't know. Why is she in it? I don't want to see this.
Because she's hot. That's why they want her.
Not anymore. She was. The Wall. The Wall. It claims everyone.
Well, that's right.
Said, I'll switch films with you anytime. Don't do that. Flady lives in an apartment like I do, like a very tiny apartment. And you guys have seen my apartment. Like there's this room and there's the bedroom. And then the bedroom is in the old episodes of my channel. But then there's the main room, the room with the big table, and that's it.
But you don't have to worry about being noisy and getting neighbors mad, right?
I have neighbors that are noisy, and we just ignore. The only problem I have with my neighbors is the water. Strange New Worlds had potential, but they quickly squandered it, and there's agreement there. If you guys aren't friends with Hungar the Starvarian, what is your problem? You should be friends with this man. Him and his brother are a pair, just like Janet and her sisters are amazing. And I'm saying that. And for my ladies in the chat that are in wait, there's nothing wrong with Sir Hungar. and if you are a nurse in South Florida or in Kentucky, you should hit him up.
A nurse.
A nurse.
Does he like them to dress up as nurses?
No, he's in and out of the hospital.
Oh, I know he's been sick, but I didn't realize it was that bad.
Well, no, he goes in for a few days. He comes out. He'll talk to you about it. It's his business. But if you have a hot nurse friend, throw her Hungar's way. Preferably not too much on the crazy of the hot side. More hot than crazy.
A lot of my guy friends say that they like the crazy ones. They're the fun.
Yeah, my personal experience is stick your dick in crazy. It'll be fun. Don't do it, but it's fun. Star Trek: The Woke Generation.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know Janet, and don't know you, Janet, unless you're going to afford to buy the IP. You're not a true Star Trek fan. You know, there's a lot of good fan content on YouTube for Star Trek. I will say that. And some of that, if Janet and you ever become friends, she'll tell you that like there's a lot of sets that look really familiar, and you're watching fan Star Trek. Which one of these were you involved with? And you guys figure that out. But I'm just saying that Janet has a good resume. She's worked for some good people. George C. Scott was good in Exorcist 3. George C. Scott was good in everything. My favorite role he ever did was the heartbroken father in Hardcore. And I know that's probably the roughest role he ever did. Rest in peace, Mr. Scott. He also was the hitman in Firestarter, and he failed to kill Drew Barrymore.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't a very good hitman.
No, not really. Nerdy, I have Muppets still better for me, but I'll side with Kane any day. I love his work. Cool. They will never find non-woke actors to make a non-woke Star Trek. Travis, you need to go watch Star Trek Continues. Seriously, like there are members of that cast that went through hell and high water to get work still because they were accused of sexually harassing people, and they're like, "Yeah, I talked to an attractive chick once. Go fuck yourself." You'd like Vic Mignoja. He's a really good guy. The fellow from MythBusters, Grant Imahara, he played, I believe, Sulu on Star Trek Continues. He's no longer with us. It sucks. Mm-hmm. But he did an amazing Sulu for Star Trek Continues. And I would recommend anybody and everybody watch Star Trek Continues. In fact, if you guys are awake after this, go watch Star Trek Continues. Episode 1 is a continuation of the Apollo subplot that was on the original series with the same actor. No, we don't speak of Star Trek the motion picture. Yeah, well, Janet does. That's her choice.
I still like it. I thought it was good.
Mage's musings. This is not a fun fact. This is a fatwa. The idiot that wrote the Wolverine Origins movie is the same schlup who screwed up Game of Thrones. Yeah. D&D is bad. I don't want D&D in my movies or in my favorite series. In D&D, they just screwed up everything.
Mm-hmm.
Exorcist 2. Hold on. Exorcist 2 is a quality horror film. It's not great, but is it fun? Yes. Come on. When the little girl's head spins around and she screams, "I am Pazuzu," you should get scared. Like flies are like buzzing.
See, all over. Bruce, you do voiceovers. You could make money doing that.
I know I should, right?
Yeah, you should. Make you a couple little voiceover tapes and put them online.
Yeah, she's doing that leads to jail time. Yes. 4 years old, you're watching Exorcist movies. I know, Kronos, I kind of stumbled over that. I insisted on watching it on TV. Parents were like, "Welcome to your doom." Actually, there's a better way to say that, and it's from the old Altered Beast Sega cabinet. "Welcome to your doom." Yeah, that's what it said to you whenever you put in your quarters.
Mm-hmm.
On TV, yeah, it was much different. It was sanitized and censored, and it wasn't that good. But Exorcist 2 is still quality on TV when you're 6 and you want to get scared. And his parents warned him ahead of time. Every franchise has at least one movie that nobody's allowed to speak of. For me, Star Trek V is the one that really pissed me off because I was expecting a lot more. Oh, Shatner directed it? It's going to be great. No. No. The best thing about the Star Trek V movie is the commercial to sell the VHS tapes. Let me see if I can find this. Star Trek V. Final. Yes. Final Frontier. VHS. Yes. No, I don't want that. I want the commercial. All right. Oh, I hope this is it. I know. We are dragging our feet on closing the doors. I'm having fun. Are you having fun, Janet?
Yes.
Okay. This fair use. We are going to use fair use during this portion. And if you if you demonetize me, I still made super chats. This is great. This is not the one I want. Damn it. No, bad YouTube. You fed me the wrong commercial. No, not the TV promo.
I didn't see that commercial before. That's why I wanted to watch it.
This is it. Okay, this movie bombed really hard, so they had to make the money back on media sales. So this commercial was the brainchild, and actually, it does a good job of being a commercial. It does not improve the movie.
What are they asking for?
For the VHS copy of Star Trek V, The Final Frontier.
Oh, okay.
They're rushing the counter after the biggest bomb of the summer. I believe it was summertime when this movie came out. This movie bombed very hard.
Yeah.
And everybody realized that Shatner cannot direct. And that hurt Shatner's feelings. But they make this commercial talking about this wonderful movie, which it's not. And they're trying to say, everybody, we want this. And look over here. There's more copies of it. There's copies of it over here. And these people rush the counter. We want this VHS.
And what's he saying?
I don't think he's got a bad accent. I'm sorry, Scotty. Did I say that? I'm sorry. But that's what I don't talk about. Star Trek V. I'll rip on Star Trek 1, but I will not talk about Star Trek V. Star Trek V to me is like Indiana Jones 4 and 5. We don't talk about those. Marvel's relying on Deadpool too much as a template for Marvel flicks. I might see Deadpool 3, but yarg matey. If Deadpool 3 is good, I'll buy it. Just like I'm watching Guardians of the Galaxy 3 here later this week. If it's good, I will be buying a Blu-ray copy of it because I like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen the newest one yet.
Neither have I. Let me know if you want to watch it. Yar, matey. Captain Marvel? We don't speak of the even-numbered Treks because they're great and there's nothing that needs to be said. Granted, I like the odd-numbered original crew movies too. I like I said, I don't talk about 5. It goes from 4 to 6. Star Trek 1 was a porno. It is. Am I the only person that likes Star Trek Next Generation? Okay, the first 2 seasons of Star Trek Next Generation, I don't like. and that's a lot of Trek to surf through. There's a couple episodes in those 2 seasons, like Conspiracy's good, The Game is good. That's about it. Everything else, I like. Fast forward. Oh, this is too much Wesley Crusher. God damn it! Fuck you, Will Wheaton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We talk about Futurama. Janet's going to start talking about Futurama. We'll be on that for 3 hours. When you saw that filled with sewage, it becomes a leach field regardless. Paramount will reap what it sows. Yeah. When you sow that field with sewage, it becomes a leach field regardless. This is what Paramount's doing with Star Trek, and it's what's going on with Disney for every franchise they have.
Yep.
I was in a Darkly bit, but I'm not a big Star Trek fan. Neeson wasn't the Cyclops. Nielsen was the Rogue. My bad. I'm sorry, Connell. I accused you wrong. I have more fur. They're talking about my hair. Nice try. Mm-hmm. Natalie Portman's best work is in Lonely Island videos. No, it's not. Her best work is in Your Highness. And if you've seen Your Highness, then you know what I'm talking about.
I haven't seen it. Is it a movie or a TV show?
It's a bad movie.
Oh.
It is the qualified worst D&D movie put to media. Bernard Bresslaw was a Cyclops. My bad. I thought it was Liam Neeson. How about The Man with the Golden Gun? Oh. Good film. Sir Christopher Lee is another legend.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Just kidding. No goody handshake. It was my hands every month or so. Yeah. Disagree. Wash. Wasn't my Merkin? I agree. Dystopian action popcorn flick. Yeah, it's Equilibrium. The movie called Sunshine. I think it's a Hilary Swank. The guy from Thank You for Smoking is in that too. Miracle Miles is a very good dystopian film. I've heard of this a lot. I'm set to Hyperactive. The kid, that movie in Flight of the Navigator, has not been in Hollywood, and he seems like a main actor was traumatized by Hollywood. Yeah, he did the Flight of the Navigator in 86 or 87, and then he waited till like 2020 or 2019, and he did a documentary on being a navigator and how that has affected his entire life. And he just did that one film. Basically, he was a kid actor, and he had some other roles, but when he hit that big time, he wasn't prepared for it. He got out, and it kind of fouled him up a bit.
Hey, really? I haven't seen that documentary.
Sunshine is the one where they either jumpstart the sun or jumpstart the Earth's core, one of the two.
I think it's the actor that's in Pinky Blinders or something. Isn't he in that movie?
Which one?
Sunshine. When they go there knowing they're not going to come back.
It is Cillian Murphy. I was completely wrong. Cillian Murphy, Rose Byrne, and Chris Evans. I was thinking about another film.
Yeah, I was going to say, because when you didn't say his name, I was like going, I don't know what movie you're talking about.
Hilary Swank. There we go. All right. I'm going to go look at her movies real quick, because there was a bad movie she was in. My favorite type. Not porn.
But close. Cinemax.
No, it wasn't that. It was The Core. I was thinking of The Core. 2003 bad action film.
Yeah, that one goes to the center of the earth. Sunshine is where they go and they try to jumpstart the sun. Because it's like a nuclear winter or something on Earth.
Huh. I'll have to check that out. And I'll have to watch The Core again, because The Core's got Bruce Greenwood, and I like him as an actor. I really like Bruce Greenwood. He's one of the better Bruces in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Campbell's a very cool cat. Met him twice. If Chins Could Kill, yeah, he's great. I think it holds up real well. Of almost 70 of Western society is one on one form or other of psychotropics. Okay, not in the book, the man himself. Yeah, Bruce Campbell's just great. By the way, the book Have Sex the Bruce Campbell Way. Very good. And if you want to laugh, you'll laugh. You read that book, you're going to laugh your ass off. And he actually does talk about sex quite a bit. Sunday nights are fun. I'm sad I missed this one. We had a good time last night.
Was the book for men or for women?
Both.
So he'd have sex with men?
No,
That's why he wants you to read the book?
A woman's perspective while she's reading that would get her hot and bothered, and it'd be an easy lay.
Oh. So men buy that book for women to read.
Why not?
I'm not saying anything. I haven't read it.
I think you should.
Well, I don't.
If I find a
nobody
copy
to fulfill the book with.
if I find you a copy of it, I'll send you that and maybe some like good coffee
To keep me up in agony. You know what I mean? Oh, I have to buy some toys.
I'm not just a guy.
I'm blushing a little bit. I wish I didn't, but oh well. Sorry.
We've got this one, boys. Okay. Grandma says I'm going to lose power soon, so saying good night ahead of the shutdown, but I have 4 battery left. Oh, I'm sorry, RPG Grandma. Good
night. Thank you for joining us.
Send us your Discord if you have a Discord, RPG Grandma. We'd love to be part of that.
Yes.
Miss the Evil Dead show. Loved him as Sam Axe and Burn Notice. Burn Notice is a great show.
Mm-hmm.
One of the few good shows that I actually enjoyed from the 2000s. Okay, a few folks on the point out the pedo connection with various Disney films. I would not be surprised with the Flight of the Navigator cast. No, I wouldn't either. And Sarah Jessica Parker, like, there's something that happened with her, but you can never, like, she's never admitted to it, but like there's stories from the certain clubs about her, and it's like, well, that kind of solves that question, because she was astute, or she was statuesque. Would I call her pretty? No. But I would say that when she was younger, she was prettier. But I would still not call her pretty. Max says, I want Janet to wear that shirt every day and forever.
Is he talking about the one with the afro one?
No, I think he's talking about this one here. Not that one. This one.
Oh. This is a dress. See? It's a dress. See?
Oh.
I don't have that much room.
Janet's recording booth is like the size of most of your walk-in.
It's little. I got a curtain, a hanging rod hanging from the ceiling, and it's curved. One of those curved rods. And then I have my lights hanging back here. See.
Burn Notice was good for what it was. Yeah. American Werewolf in London. Yeah, that's a fantastic John Landis film. And that movie there was the first movie where I thought editing was going to be the big thing to help horror movies, because there's a couple scenes where like they do great cuts. I'm sorry, Janet. Let me get you off there. Just Wolf. Kim Cattrall is always she's my crush back then. Not
Hilary Swank.
What?
Hilary Swank was your crush?
No. Oh. Kim Cattrall was my crush back then.
From Porky's?
Porky's. She was in Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, Little China.
Yeah, she was in a few other things. I still think Big Trouble in Little China was her high watermark for hotness. Mm-hmm. I just like the scene at the end, especially when Kurt Russell passes her up and she's there wanting him to kiss her. She's like, I will stoop down to your level and kiss you, you ugly trucker, but you saved my life. And he just, no. Greatest diss in all of moviedom.
Well, he had Goldie Hawn at home, so he didn't have to worry about it.
I'm okay. Goldie Hawn circa 1980 or 78 when Private Benjamin came out. Mm-hmm. By the way, one of my favorite Army comedies. Not my favorite Army comedy. That would be Stripes. But Private Benjamin is peak Goldie Hawn, I think. I think she's a great actress, but she has proven herself to be a fantastic mother and wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they love each other.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell some of the few things that I've seen them in public together. They hold hands and they're very affectionate.
Hey, Popcotton, how you doing? Scrooge wasn't great. He didn't like it. Okay, Kronos, that's understandable. Beavis and Butthead, Ebenezer Screw.
Yeah, are you going to go through the whole thing? Because they're adding at the bottom constantly.
I guess I should stop, shouldn't I? We're at 3 hours. Mount your TV to a stationary bike. No, because then like it'll have the moment where you have to go real hard because you're doing a hill, and then you start doing this on your bike, and the bike does this, and your TV goes, "Look, don't
Yeah,
do
and the
that."
TV breaks. You break your
Just
TV.
have a TV hanging on the wall or mounted to the wall. Lone Wolf and Cub. Shoko Tsubushi was in Shogun
Yeah,
Samurai. Yes.
that's when I was asking if that was the one where the samurai is pulling the baby behind them in a wagon. That was an old one, and from I don't know, a long time ago in the 70s, I guess.
I remember that. I don't remember what movie it is though, but I remember that the baby was being towed behind them.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember the name of it, but somebody said something about it and it made me think about it because that's the first kung fu movie I've ever seen.
36 Chambers. That was my first, I believe. And still one of my favorites. Okay. Shogun, that's a miniseries based off a book. Everybody likes the Hungar pick. Fred
Yeah,
Warman.
we've been going at it for 3 hours. Can you believe that?
Hungar with the Witch would be good also. Yes. The Shogun miniseries was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Battle Wizard. Really? The Battle Wizard? I just saw your review. Are you sure? Listen, if you do this, if you make me watch a Battle Wizard, Connell, I will make you watch Willy's Wonderland. And Janet will have a reaction video.
Oh, it won't be good. I'll be throwing up, putting my finger down my throat, making a video, me vomiting.
I haven't read the book. I have the book. Mom has a book, actually. The Fly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
it was. I like that movie.
We probably should shut this down because we have a rabid, not rabid, but they're talking. They're continuing to add stuff, and we're in 3 hours.
I know. I told you the chat's never going to stop talking.
They're great. They really are.
They have Janitis just taking after me.
We have yet another super sticker from JFG. John, you have to do that. I appreciate that, John. And if is he from your Discord, Janet?
No, he's from my Twitter.
Okay.
He's not on my Discord. He's just from Twitter.
Fantastic.
Friend of mine from Twitter.
John, get active on her Discord. There's a bunch of good people over there, and that's just fun to walk in sometimes.
Yeah, I invited him to Jedi Bill's karaoke night on one Saturday night, and he thought everyone was so nice. He really liked it. And I told him, I said, you need to start coming and hang out a little bit more on YouTube. There's a bunch of great people over here. And I think you'd like him and get along great.
He seems like a good guy.
Yeah, he is a great guy.
All right.
Horse shit aside.
Yeah, the woke horse shit aside, yeah, everybody says Lower Decks is actually pretty good, except for like my mainstream Trek friends say stay away from it. My people that are accepting of new ideas, or they step in there like, this isn't so bad. Like I said, I can watch the new Trek movies and I'm like, meh, it's a Trek movie. Is it a good Trek movie? No. This is Star Trek 1 levels of Trekness. It's not Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan. It's not Star Trek 3 with I am getting tired of you. You know, it's not that.
Yeah.
It's really bad Trek. Like Spock is punching Khan in the face. Do you understand that they have no ideas? Okay.
Yeah.
But there's a funny comment right here. Janet has sisters. Kronos. Janet, I'm going to go to your Discord and copy your link and put
Okay.
it in the chat. So our friends, if they are not members of your Discord, I want them to be invited, and I want them to go and explore and have some fun with some really nice
Yeah,
people.
Kronos. I've had both of my sisters. My first episode of my Friday night shit show. I had my sister Sandy join me that night, and that's when we first did the first one, basically because we just were both depressed. And it was before Mother's Day for my mom's birthday. And then last week or the week before last, I had my other sister Jennifer on there. And so we've had a lot. I have two of my sisters on there so far.
Jennifer is a little sweetheart, and Sandy is
Firecracker.
yeah. Just keep in mind, you get into a chat with Janet and Sandy, you're not going to say much.
Well, see, Jennifer is a little different because she was the youngest, so she always got what she wanted, so she didn't have to compete as much as the rest of us. So that's why Sandy and I were like bickering and talking over each other.
Janet would take home a boyfriend. Boyfriend would see Sandy. I want that.
Yeah.
You're nice. I don't want you. I want that.
They'd walk in, and then they'd say, "Who's that?" And I go, "Oh, that's my sister." Oh, okay. But she was blonde, and Kathy and Sandy were both built the same. They're shorter, and I'm athletic build basically, and they were real curvy like Mae West. So I lost out because I didn't get these until I hit 30. So I was a late bloomer. If I had these when I was in high school, I probably would have did pretty well on my own, but oh well.
Mage's Musing says something I really agree with. Trek Continues is a breath of fresh air. It's like finding the lost episodes of the DC Fontana scripted series. Not season 3, more season 1 and 2. A lot of season 2, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's the final season we did not get. It's got last episode dovetails right into the motion picture. So if you want to see something that's really good, if you can take anything from me tonight, watch Star Trek Continues. Just I'll find the first episode. I'm going to give you guys a link, and you can save this. And when you get the chance, this is the best that you're going to have for the original series. And it's really freaking good. Now you have, and it's filmed in 4:3. It's not a widescreen. So
where can you watch it?
I'm going to put it right down here in the chat.
Good.
You can watch this right in YouTube. And if you have YouTube Premium, it's ad free. We're going to probably have to end the broadcast. I can hear Janet's allergies starting up, and I'm thankful.
Yeah, and I cried earlier, so it made me stuffy. I'm sorry. I'm so weak.
Oh, you're good. You're fine, Janet. You're really the ideal. You're for me. You're the perfect co-host. Like, I really appreciate you on Fridays. I love it how the roles are reversed. As you've got the hosting chair and you let me in and paint miniatures and talk with your friends and your family.
I love our topics too. I think it's really good to just let it all out because I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm not monetized, so I don't care. What are they going to do? Just the only thing they can do is take my channel from me. That's it.
What we're going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going on this weekend. Friday night, go to Janet's channel at 9:00 Central Standard Time. That's when this shit show starts, and it is literally called the shit show. You will have Miss Janet. You'll have her family, possibly. You'll have some other guests in there. You'll probably see me. Hi. And there will be a lot of people that will funnel in and out. She's a fairly amicable host. She likes to talk about things that are probably not friendly for most. So do not bring in your 4-year-old.
No.
No,
No
don't do that.
kids.
Not that we don't love kids, we love children. That's probably the reason why we have the shit show,
Hmm.
because there's a lot of problems with and around children today. Like was said earlier in the chat, the new North Carolina wants to talk about gender roles and gender identity crap to your kid in public schools. So if there's never been an agenda that screamed it wanted you to do homeschooling before, now here we are. Janet, thank you.
Thank
Really.
you. I had fun tonight. It was great. And
Um,
thank you to the chat. I mean, we
I
really do have a good chat.
I got to give thanks to my friend Hungar the Starvarian and our new supporter, Mr. John the Convicted JHG 76. He gave us, this is probably the second most I've seen come in through here. I'm
Thank you
very
so much.
happy. You don't have to do this. You really don't. I appreciate it. This was great, but we we try to have good content, and along the way we have side conversations. We interact with chat as much as we can, and I really want you guys to enjoy yourselves when you come here. Oh, somebody's mentioned Star Trek Five. It got the proper Trek elements, seeds of what could have been great Star Trek movies there, more so than New Trek. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So before I look at the chat and start thinking, oh, we could talk about this too, Janet, I'll let you say the last thing and we will leave. But everybody here, if you didn't get it before, I would love to have a firm handshake with you. Maybe have a break of one of the beers off the or sodas out of the box for you, and just say thank you for everything you've done tonight and for this channel. Really,
Yeah, thank you. This has been great. I love doing this every week. I look forward to it. I've even made my own costumes sometimes to be able to wear something like my whole nun outfit that I made for that review we did on the Blues Brothers. But I really enjoy it. It's fun. I love movies. I love talking about movies. And thank you to the chat for coming tonight and supporting us in our endeavor with talking about movies that we love and talking about movies we've never seen before. We get to do that. But I just love it. I love hanging out with Bruce. He's a great, wonderful man. And he's a good American. And that's one reason why I like him is because I'm proud to call him my friend. So there we go.
thank you, everyone. And we will see you again next Monday night for this very show. Don't forget Cutthroat Island, Sunday 7 p.m. in my Discord. We will see you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.